And, we'll see what happens with that. That may be something to be upset about if it's a verdict that's not guilty, right? Somebody said something, Salakia. You say, somebody said something. I just missed. I think somebody said something about Kyrie Irving. Salute, yeah, definitely big salute to Kyrie Irving for standing his ground. Shout out to John Swords. All praise to the Most High. King Judy, y'all by Shemi, somebody super chat earlier told me to get them. Zori, y'all by Shemi, the water for continued support, brother. Right? Yeah, he was 17 years old. Oh. Oh.
Damn, back it up. There we go.
There we go. Back it up. See, I got the Deacon here with me through the spirit of power. Y'all, we here.
It's a high quality shirt.
This is a high quality shirt. Let's go there and tell them.
If you want to buy another high quality shirt like this, make sure you go to urbanbrother.com.
Woo!
All kind of stuff on there.
Right? Because today is not
Tonight
is not the Sabbath week, so you can buy right now. We're getting ready to prove that through the spirit of power. Y'all buy some y'all. So ain't that right there?
And while you're at it, promo code aside.
Right? Zephaniah, y'all by Shemi, y'all break it down the water. Yeah, let me get my plugs in real quick. Let me get my plugs in before we get started. Zion Network, use promo code aside to save 15% off. Right? We got a lot of new stuff going on here. We got the season finale of Grlahebrew, my reality show just dropped. Deacon is featured prominently in this. Okay, he's in this episode. He's in some other episodes too. Episode 4, 3, 2. You see him here in 2. All right, so all praises for that. As well as other stuff on here. Got music, podcasts, everything, man. Urbanbrother.com, like Assad just plugged for your clothing needs. Follow Grlahebrew on Clubhouse. Join our clubs on Clubhouse. Instagram, all right, as well. Right, I want to make sure we plug that.
Look at my screen.
Yeah. Well, my man Mike, what's up, Mike Malice? Video entitled Sakari. 4 people have seen it. You know who those 4 people are?
Ooh.
Me. Refresh it 4 times.
Point laugh at him, man. Mock him.
Oh, man, we got a pretty good evil laugh. I ain't gonna lie. No wonder they hate us.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. That's a great point. So, tonight, as y'all can see by the title, we're going to be going in depth into understanding the lunar Sabbath through the spirit and power of Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai. A topic, that people, we touch on all the time, in brief, but we're going to go in a deep dive in the spirit and power of Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai. We're going to tackle head on a lot of the critiques of the doctrine, the counterpoints. We're gonna deal with that head on through the spirit and power of Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai. We're gonna go into some histories. We're gonna go into various things dealing with this understanding, and I believe we're gonna be able to very thoroughly through the spirit demonstrate the clear tradition of our ancient forefathers and not just tradition, but commanded by God, how we are actually supposed to observe and keep our calendrical system in totality, from day to day, week to week, month to month, season to season, year to year. So we're going to go into that and demonstrate that through the spirit and power of Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai. It's something myself and of the Deacon have been working on, for, a little while, like a month and a half, something like that?
Yeah, man, it took forever. But, I wanted to prolong it to next week, but I said, you know what? We can't do this no more. When the Most High lights that fire under your ass, you gotta move.
You gotta move. The Most High move. You know what I mean? We on the Most High's time. You know what I'm saying? So He give us the orders. You know what I'm saying? Israelite defense. That's damn right. Dan Israel. Nah, I was in San Diego last week. That's it. I'm out of there. We all won't see me back in California. I don't know when. Right? But all praises to the Most High. We're going to go into it. Got to go into it, right?
All praises, man. Hey, first and foremost, Deacon Deacon Hakagawayam from Sakari.
That's right.
I just gotta say, it's just a pleasure to be back on the greatest show on earth. Sakari King channel, man. Let's get this channel to 50K, man. You understand that? Right. Let's get this channel to 50K, man.
On the way to 50K through the spirit of power of Yahweh Shem Yahushua.
We need this channel to 50K, but I didn't get a chance to just give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Shem Yahushua. As I said on my prelude to this presentation, man. Look, hey, it's not personal. I still love you Friday to Saturday night, brothers and sisters. It's not personal, but we're going to just bring out the truth and sincerity and validated, substantiated, certified, vindicated, and authenticated.
There you go.
But peace and blessings to the chat, man. I would like to, unless you guys got something else y'all wanted to say.
Nah, man, I've already commended Kyle Rittenhouse for a good job, for a job well done. And as a patriot, he's been exonerated of all charges.
Yeah.
So, acquitted. He's got an acquittal. So we can move into the topic through the spirit.
Hey, before all your questions.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna bother. I'm not even looking at the comments.
Yeah, before all your questions, wait for the presentation. Now, I know Elazar and Hassad, they don't really put the link in the chat. But, on this episode, you may be able to click the link and come on here and get this work if you're so Twitter confrontational. So I just want to let that be known. That'll be after the presentation. So if you could hold your questions, comments, and smoke until after the presentation so that we can stay focused on this linear logic, which is the lunar Sabbath. I'd like to start first and foremost with addressing the common arguments against the lunar Sabbath. I think that's fair. I don't like when people give presentations or lectures and lessons without doing it from a Rogerian perspective. What is a Rogerian perspective? That's you arguing your opponent's case because your opponent is not here to argue it himself. So we got to deal with this. For the first portion, we're going to talk about the common arguments and just let you guys know how brothers may try to combat against the lunar Sabbath. And then we'll lay down our presentation after that. The first one is that's easy. So the first common argument, it's not in particular order. I just got it in my order. But the first one I want to deal with is how can the lunar Sabbath, how can the Sabbath be determined by the moon if the moon was created on the fourth day, but the Most High instituted the Sabbath on the seventh day? So that is one.
Such a simple.
What you say? Rudimentary.
Yes, rudimentary. Come on now. Go ahead.
Right, rudimentary. Right. So, first and foremost, you're dealing with 1,000-year periods during creation, not 24-hour days. I'm gonna say that again. We're dealing with 1,000-year periods for creation, not 24-hour periods. So we're gonna hit 2 Ezra 14. We're gonna get some of our early Israelite church fathers just to add insult to injury, and then we're gonna get Exodus 16 when we first see the Sabbath instituted. Yeah, so let me go ahead. We can't hear you.
My fault. What was I thinking? So let me get this one to start, just so we can be clear, right? Let's go right here. So Genesis 2:2. And on the seventh day, God ended his work which he had made, and he rested the seventh day from all his work which he had made. So it's dealing with the resting of the Elohim. So let's get that in Peter. Right? That's all right?
Yeah, man.
All right, go ahead.
This is 2 Peter 3:8. It says, but beloved, be not ignorant of this one thing.
Of this one thing, read.
That one day is with the Lord as 1,000 years.
You see that? So we're talking about the resting of the Elohim, right? A celestial time frame, not a terrestrial time frame, right? Because number one, there's not even such a thing as a terrestrial time frame when creation begins. Why? Because celestial beings are creating the terrestrial world. So it's not dictated by a terrestrial clock. So when we deal with God resting on the seventh day and a day with God being 1,000 years, that's how we substantiate it was 7,000 year periods, not 7 24-hour days. So it's a moot point to even reference the fact that the moon comes into creation on the fourth day. Predicated upon that. It gets worse though, but just surface level, right? Go ahead. Deacon, whatever else, what other precepts you got?
Well, let's go to, let me share my screen. I'm going to go to some powerful sources real quick, just to prove to you that the moon was created on the 4,000 year, not the fourth day. So it's a real mute point. So let's see, let's go to share my screen. And then I'm going to have Hassad start this off. Let's go to 2nd Ezra, Hassad, 14 and 11. And Alazar, like, this is, me, you, and Hassad can all interject on, we can go by my order, but we could all interject and add to it.
Yes, sir.
So we're going to go to 2nd Ezra 14 and 11, Hassad. I got the GNT, but the KJV says the same thing. I mean, let's just get the KJV for these.
He got the red book. You can. Oh yeah, if you want to put up KJV.
Go ahead, Hassad. Go ahead.
2nd Ezra 14 and want me to start at 10 just for context?
Yeah, that's cool.
It says, "For the world hath lost his youth, and the times begin to wax old. For the world is divided into 12 parts, and the 10 parts of it are gone already, and half of a 10th part."
Right. Meaning 9.5 of the world's history is gone. When did Ezra write this? Between 400 to 500 BC. So he's saying that there's only 2,500 more years in which we're at right now, where the Most High could be sending his son any day, that 6th trumpet sounded any day, that 7th, the mark of the beast getting implemented nationwide any day, right? Go ahead.
It says, verse 12, "And there remaineth that which is after the half of a 10th part."
Mm-hmm. That was the end of 12. Now let me read it in GMT. 2nd is 14:11. "The whole history of the world is divided into 12 periods. These are 1,000-year periods." Hassad already proved it. Hassad already read Peter's quoting Psalms, so we don't got to go there. But 12 periods, and the 10th period has already arrived, and it is half over. Only 2.5 parts remain. At the time Ezra is on earth, he's saying 2.5 parts of the earth's history remains. After that, it's Yahushai's kingdom, the millennial kingdom, and we'll show you that early sources believe the same ideology. So you guys cannot say that creation took only 7 days, 24-hour days, and then Ezra's be right on this. You just can't do it.
So are y'all right or is Ezra right?
Right. So the moon was made on the 4,000, during the 4,000 year mark, right? Now let's get this, right? Look at this, right? Look at this, right? Let's deal with this. This is eschatology of the early church fathers, right? Now we're just adding this. We just went to the Bible to prove to you that the world cannot be 12,000 years old if it was 7 24-hour day periods. So look at this. Let's go to, now, some people may have a problem with the Epistle of Barnabas. I do as well, but I will say that he had the ideology that humanity only gets 6,000 years to rule. Humanity only gets 6,000 years to rule. What's that? That's from after the 6,000 year, everything was done. Then it was the 7,000 year for the Elohim, the rest. But after the 6,000 year, it started the reign of humanity on earth, which goes all the way up to 12,000 years, right? Which Ezra said the world would be done at that point, and then we would transition into the kingdom of Yahushai, or the kingdom of the Most High. Now look what he said.
The kingdom that he clearly tells us, get 2nd Ezra 6 real quick. Hey, so he tells us what's the end of that 12th part, right? The end of that 6,000, he tells us that, right? What does that read?
2nd Ezra chapter 6, verse 9.
For
Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that follows.
Hold that. Go back to 14. Hold that. Go back to 14, right? So hold it. Because I'm gonna need you to jump back to it. Right.
2 Ezra 14 and 10.
For
the world hath lost his youth, and the times begin to wax old. For the world is divided into 12 parts.
The world, read.
And the 10 parts of it are gone already, and half of a 10th part.
Read on.
And there remaineth that which is after the half of the 10th part.
Right, go back to it. The world, right? Read that.
2 Ezra 6 and 9. For Esau is the end of the world.
Of the world. Esau is the end of the world. So the end of the heathen's reign, culminating with Esau, and then what, read?
And Jacob is the beginning of it that follows.
After that 6,000 years is going to be the kingdom of Israel headed by Mashiach Yahushua. It's very clear what's going on here, right? Precept, go ahead.
If I make it, that goes right into what the time of the Gentiles is.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm gonna get that scripture real quick.
Yeah, I was gonna say that, but go ahead, bring that out.
Oh, I'm sorry, my bad.
No, you're good. You're good. Right on time, brother.
Am I jumping?
No, you good. You good.
21.
Hey, and if you do jump, that if I it's kind, we could just reiterate it because people. This is why we got Leviticus and Deuteronomy. If you jump the gun, we're gonna bring it out again later.
Luke 21 and 24. And they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captive into all nations. And Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled. Because I think that's even in the New Testament, the 3 words for worlds, cosmos, organon, and ion, which just means time. But I got a precept for that because that
Salakia, Philip Nelson, it's 9.5, right? So it's talking about being halfway to the 10th part. That's why it says that, right? In 2nd Ezra, that's why he read it in the GNT where it's clear in the modern English what's going on, right? That's why it says it's 2.5 parts left. I mean, it's halfway to the 10th part. 9.5, you see that? Only 2.5 parts remain, right? So it's 9.5 parts, King. Just so you understand, the Old English, you know, your Old English may get you, may be tricky right there. So just very clearly in the modern English, only 2.5 parts remain. All right, that's what it's saying in the Old English as well. Go ahead.
Just let me get to the point. Daniel 7 and 20. It says, and of the 10 horns that were in his head, and of the other which came up, and before whom 3 fell, even of that horn that had eyes and a mouth that spake very great things, whose look was more stout than his fellows. The little horn from the 4th beast. Verse 21. I beheld, and the same horn made war with the saints, and prevailed against them, until the Ancient of Days came, and judgment was given to the saints of the Most High, and the time came that the saints possessed the kingdom. So that's Jacob is the beginning of that with forward.
God.
Well, you good. That's our time. That's what the end of this, that 6,000 years that Barnabas is talking about, the end of the 12 parts in which that Ezra is talking about. Right? Go ahead.
So let me just read this real quick. So look what it says. Epistle of Barnabas, written late 1st century, early 2nd century. Look what he says. He says, written late 1st century, early 2nd century, and regarded as equal to scripture by origin. Now, I don't agree with that, but whatever. Origin says the Epistle of Barnabas is equal to scripture. We're just using it for historicity, not necessarily theology. So denotes the creation week as a pattern for human history. As a pattern for human history, just like 2nd Ezra says, right? And look what it says. And the Sabbath rest of the 7th day equates to the millennium. Right? Mm-hmm. So what does it say? What does it say? Oh, my bad. I messed up. 1 day equals 1,000 years. 6,000 years of history, and the Sabbath rest on the 7th day equates to the millennium. So he's saying that, watch this, y'all. He's saying that 6,000 years of a creation in the beginning, and then 1,000 years of rest for the Alahayim. Then he says, look at the pattern. 6 more thousand of human history, that's 12,000 years, and then the 7th again would be the millennial reign of Christ entering to eternal sabbatical rest. Hey, he brought it out.
He broke it down. Now he was into it, huh?
Hey, now look at this. Remember him, Elazar? Look, the early church historian Sextus Julius Africanus.
Yes, Sextus. Yes, sir.
A North African bishop, because we know we were migrating during this time when we left. When we got expelled, actually,
we was up there in Carthage, up there in that kingdom of Carthage, man.
That's went to North Africa on the way to the west, right? And he says and North African bishop Commodianus, both wrote about 6,000 years of history and the glorious millennium following, much like the Epistle of Barnabas. So we got these early sources who actually agree with Second Ezra, saying that creation did not take 7 24-hour days. It took 12,000 years. Humanity gets 6,000 years to reign, and then it's over. So the whole argument of how can the Sabbath be dictated by the moon when the moon was created on the 4th day and the Sabbath was instituted on the 7th day in Genesis, that's a mute point because it's a false equivalency, as we see those days in creation were 1,000-year periods.
That's right.
All right. So if you got questions on that, write them down. We'll come back to them. Now, the second argument, Leviticus 23, and dealing with the 7 Sabbaths from, what's that, Passover to first fruits?
Yeah, what the before Passover, the count starts before Passover, in that first month.
Okay, so where is that anyway? Is that Is that 6 days, 7 days? No. Where is that in Leviticus 23? Dealing with the about 100 days.
15.
It's 15?
15 to 16,
right.
50 days.
Oh, my bad. I went to Exodus 16 to prove the point that we didn't get the Sabbath. This is also proving that the 7 day of creation is not 24-hour periods, because we did not get the Sabbath until Exodus 16, verse 26. My bad. Exodus 16, verse 26. 6 days shall ye gather it, but on the 7th day, which is the Sabbath, in it there shall be none, right? So we see the institution of the 7-day Sabbath in Exodus 16. I thought we had it back in creation. No, we didn't, because that's talking about 1,000 years of rest for the Elohim. I just wanted to point that out.
Now, and you can't substantiate it really being followed until Exodus 16 at all.
So the second argument, go ahead. My bad.
So like, where's Abraham's Sabbath at? You know, Isaac, Jacob. We don't see them following that. We don't see that happening until Moses gives it to us there in Exodus 16.
Yeah, I haven't even seen an extra biblical source that states we had a Sabbath before Moses implemented it in Exodus 16, right? So Leviticus 23 and 15, they say, how can the lunar Sabbath be if you can't get 7 Sabbaths from this point to that point? And this is simply, reading comprehension. Leviticus 23 and 15, this simple reading comprehension. And ye shall count unto him, Hassan, you can get John 4 too. And ye shall count unto you from the morrow after the Sabbath. You can break it down, Alazar, if you
okay.
From the morrow after the Sabbath, from the day that ye brought the sheaf of the wave offering, 7 Sabbaths shall be completed.
So now it says, 7 Sabbaths shall be completed. Let's keep reading.
Even unto the morrow after the 7th Sabbath.
After you count 7 Sabbaths, then the day after 7 Sabbaths, what do you do?
Shall ye number 50 days.
Even the morrow after. So this is where people get real messed up at. And it's what happens when what you think or what you've been told begins to clash with common sense and reading comprehension. So we're going to read this one more time. Everybody make sure they're listening up. Right? Go ahead.
Leviticus 23 and 15. And ye shall count unto you from the morrow after the Sabbath.
After the Sabbath. The morrow after the Sabbath, you count what?
From the day that you brought the sheaf wave offering, 7 Sabbaths shall be complete.
7 Sabbaths shall be complete. Read.
Even unto the morrow after the 7th Sabbath.
After 7 Sabbaths are complete, read.
Shall ye number 50 days.
Then you number 50 days. After the completion of 7 Sabbaths, you number 50 days. Very simple and plain fluidly as you just read. Now, here's the thing. If the morrow after the 7th Sabbath is 50 days, why then does it say number the morrow after the 7th Sabbath plus 50 days. Why would it say that if the morrow after the seventh Sabbath is 50 days? If a Sabbath is perfectly 49 days, it would be redundant to say 7 Sabbaths, then 50 days. It would just say 100 days, right? But instead, it differentiates the amount of time 7 Sabbaths will take from 50 fixed days will take. So that totally obliterates it. The problem is people are going, oh, it says Pentecost. Pentecost means 50 days, so you count 50 days, but you're not reading Leviticus 23, where the Most High actually give us the commandments on our holy days. He said you number 7 Sabbaths, then the morrow after the 7th Sabbath, you number 50 days.
God.
So that's not an exact amount of days because of the lunar cycle. All right? That shows that or else it would have just said number 100 days or number 99 days. Right?
They hurting some feelings. They hurting some feelings tonight. Now let's prove that with Yahweh Shai agreeing that it is about 100 days.
That's right.
So let's get John 4, Hassad. You got it? Go ahead.
John 4:35. Say not ye, there are yet 4 months, and then cometh harvest.
And then cometh what?
Harvest.
Harvest. So wait, let's go back to Leviticus 23 real quick. Go ahead. Read that again.
Leviticus 23.
Uh-huh.
I'll get to the point for our context. Verse 10. Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, when ye be come into the land which I give unto you, and shall reap the harvest thereof.
The what?
The harvest.
The harvest. So that 7 Sabbaths plus 50 days, which is about 100 days, is a harvest. It's the feast of the harvest, the feast of first fruits. Right? Let's go back to John now. Let's see what Yahweh Shai said. Go ahead.
John 4:35. Say not ye, there are yet 4 months.
There are what?
Yet 4 months.
4 months, then what?
Then cometh the harvest.
Then cometh the harvest. From the first month of the year, if I number 50 days, like they're telling me to, what month does that put me in? The second month, right? Because a month got 30 days, right? So that puts me about 20 days into the second month. But Yahweh Shai said the harvest is in the 4th month, right? 100 days puts me what? 10 days into the 4th month, or about that, right? Right there in that 4th month. So according to Hamashiach Yahweh Shai, the harvest is in the 4th month, not the 2nd month. So Pentecost is not actually 50 days from that. It's actually 7 Sabbaths plus 50 days, because that's the only way to put it in the 4th month. 50 days don't put you in the 4th month, right? So now your understanding of Pentecost has been through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, thoroughly debunked, right? You're now going to have to take that argument off the table, just like the 7 24-hour day, 4th day argument. That's done. That's really done. Or you're going to really have to fight plainly against the Bible, right? We didn't go into any mysticism right here or anything. This is all plain stuff. A day to the Lord is 1,000 years. Ezra said the world is put into 12,000, is split into 12,000 years, right? 2,500 years remain from the time of his life, which was 2,500 years ago, right? Then we have early church fathers also attesting to that. But we can keep them off the table. The scriptures is plain. We got the prophecies that's plain. Then we got the law that's plain, 7 Sabbaths plus 50 days. Then we have Yahweh Shai uttering the same sentiment, the harvest being in the 4th month, which doesn't add up to 50 days. See that? So it's painfully clear here, all right? At this point, if you're fighting against, we're still building the case now, but them 2 arguments right there, you fighting against that, you're fighting against God. Go ahead.
Done. So the next common argument they make is, show me transitional days in the Bible. So everything. Oh, that's easy. It's a lot of inside joking going on today, my brothers and sisters, right? But so we're going to show them from an archaeological perspective or historical perspective and biblical evidence of the transitional day. Transitional day meaning that the 7-day cycle is broken by a transitional day, or any day for that matter, right? Because our brothers and sisters seem to think that the monthly cycle and the weekly cycle are on different cycles, but the Bible teaches the weeks are confined to the month. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, it's Salakia. It's funny how we'll be asked to prove transitional days, which is not a problem. But these same people can't prove that there's 2 different calendars. Show me that there's 2 different calendars in the Bible, right? Where is that going on, right? But go ahead.
So for one from the Hassad, you asked him?
Now you got to call it whatever you want.
Okay, so I was going to get Leviticus 23, keeping the Sabbath in the 9th day of the month.
Yes, sir.
And then I just wanted to talk about, the fact that there's about 100 days that we just read in Leviticus 23 proves that the weekly cycle. Yeah, it proves that.
Exactly. If he's saying 7 Sabbaths, then he's saying 50 days straight. It lets you know that 7 Sabbaths is not going to be an exact number every single time.
Right.
That's painfully clear, or else he would have just gave us the exact number, 100 days or 49 days or 50 days. But he didn't. He gave us an amount of Sabbaths, then he gave us a mathematical equation after that, right? Or just a straight up number, right?
And that proves transitional days. So I wanted to reference Second Adar. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that, but the very fact that we had a 13th month in our ancient unwritten, I'll say unwritten, because we didn't have a written calendar.
We didn't have a written calendar, and there's no way this calendar works without Second Adar.
Right. You guys should definitely look up Second Adar. That's
so like if y'all don't know about the leap, how Hebrew leap year works, then you really don't understand, the functions of the calendar. This calendar, a lunar-based calendar, can't work without leap years in it, right? Or else it'll put the seasons totally out of whack, right? What do I mean? If you just went 12 months every year solely by the moon, you'll be having Passover in December in no time. In about 2-3 years, Passover will be in December. So there has to be something that keeps it on track. So what keeps it on track is what's called Second Adar, right? Because our calendar was entirely predicated upon observation. So when those who were charged with observing the movements of the sun, moon, and stars, to blow the trumpet to notify us of things, on certain years, they would give us what we call the second month of Adar, which is the 13th month of the year, which keeps our calendar on track. All right? He's going to go into it now with some history. If you don't believe us, look it up. If you don't think there's a second Adar, that's fine. Good luck keeping your calendar. All right? You'll be having Passover in accordance with Christmas, right? But go ahead.
Tom, that's pretty much it. You broke it down. It's historical. No Hebrew scholar. I mean, you guys should know this. You call yourself Hebrew Israelites. You should know about 2 Adar or Adar 2. So
and most of y'all out there, y'all follow the teachings of one camp or another. All the camps follow second. All the camps believe in and follow Second Adar. All of them.
Let's get another biblical example of transitional days. So go ahead, Asad.
Leviticus 23 and 26. It says, "And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Also on the 10th day of this 7th month there shall be a day of atonement. It shall be a holy convocation unto you, and ye shall afflict your souls, and offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord." It says, it says, "And ye shall do no work in that same day, for it is a day of atonement, to make an atonement for you before the Lord your God."
Verse 32.
It says, "It shall be unto you a Sabbath of rest, and ye shall afflict your souls. In the 9th day of the month at even, from even unto even shall you celebrate your Sabbath."
So now he's telling you, if the Sabbath is every 7th day, and you got a problem with transitional days, it's here telling you that you got to keep your Sabbath on the 9th day. You know what that proves? Offsetting the 7-day week cycle at one point or another.
Yeah, because let's go back. Day of Atonement. Some people kept it in October, but most people kept it on the same or around the time that we kept it, right? So let's go back to look at the date that was again, real quick. So like, I want to look at that date again, right? So we had pre-atonement Sabbath. Okay, Day of Atonement was September 15th, right? Okay, so around that time. So September 15th was Wednesday. So if anybody kept the Sabbath, you see what I'm saying? So it would be the day before that. So that would have been the 14th. Or if you kept it the 16th, it would have been the 15th. That means your Sabbath was Tuesday or Wednesday that week. Right? Read that again.
Leviticus 23 and 32. "It shall be unto you a Sabbath of rest, and you shall afflict your souls."
That's talking about the Day of Atonement now, but read.
In the ninth day
In the ninth day, the day before the Day of Atonement, read.
In the ninth day of the month at even, from even unto even, shall you celebrate your Sabbath.
That's when you celebrate your Sabbath, the day before the Day of Atonement. So that would have translated to either the 14th or the 15th day of September for most of Israel. Some people again kept in October, but that would be Tuesday or Wednesday, right? So if it's a 7 day, it's always a 7-day cycle, then but you kept a Sabbath 2 to 3 days later. That's not a 7-day cycle, right? Keeping the Sabbath 2 to 3 days after another one. So that demonstrates to everybody who has it stuck in their mind that the Sabbath is some type of fixed 7-day thing that happens every 7 days, no matter what, all the time. You clearly don't understand the Torah, because right here, your Sabbath, you would have kept a Sabbath 2 to 3 days later, not 7 days, right? So that's totally out of the water.
I want to do something too for this next common argument. Can you guys highlight Don Israel's comment? He's right on time. Highlight that and read it. Read his comment.
Where's he at? Right here? This one?
Yeah. He said, this is such a little issue. I met somebody who does the Sabbath on Wednesday, but every time I bring up 1 Samuel 20, I never had a brother able to answer it. Oh!
Oh!
It's
right
good because that's right on time, because that's literally my next point. The King David issue. The good old King David issue. So somebody, hey, for all your questions, brothers and sisters, just wait and we'll get to them, Lord willing. We'll try to breeze through this presentation so that we can interact with you guys as well. But look, the bombs haven't even dropped yet. Don't put no bombs in the chat till we tell you not to.
Hey, look, y'all, we ain't even started yet. So the spirit, this is.
So people go to King David, and say, he ate the showbread that was on the Sabbath. Okay, cool, that's fine. He ate the showbread that was only baked on the Sabbath, and it was only 3 days since he came out. So the King David issue that can't be the new moon Sabbath.
Oh,
because their argument is that he came out, it was the new moon, he hid for 3 days, and then the bread was being baked after only 3 days when the bread's only being baked on the Sabbath. That's their point, right? So let's watch it. Let's read this. 1 Samuel 20 and 5. 1 Samuel chapter 20, verse 5. Look what it says. And David said unto Jonathan, behold, tomorrow is the new moon, and I should not fail to sit with the king at meat, but let me go that I may hide myself in the field until the 3rd day. Understand that? So he hid for 3 days, right?
He's hiding. He's hiding for 3 days. Hiding.
Yeah. Now let's read verse 19. And when thou hast stayed there 3 days, then shalt thou go down quickly and come to the place where thou didst hide thyself when the business was in hand, and shalt remain by the stone of Ezel. And I ain't talking about the late Ezel, right?
Or Ezel's chicken.
Or Ezel. Right. So how long was he hiding? It's clear, 3 days. Now let's look at 1 Samuel, the very next chapter, verse 5. Look what he says, y'all. And David answered, 1 Samuel 21 and 5. And I really should have had everybody put bombs in the chat. Put a bomb in the chat after I read this. And David answered the priest and said unto him, of a truth, women have been kept from us about these 3 days since I came out.
Came out of what? Hiding. So he hid for 3 days, and he's came out of hiding for 3 days. 3 plus 3, guys, is 6. Okay? 3 plus 3 is 6, which means what? This would be going into a refreshing of the showbread on the 7th day.
Put them bombs in the chat. This actually.
Oh! Well, people play this cherry pick game with 1 Samuel 20, man. I've been just keeping this quiet to bust y'all on this for so long. Y'all thought this is y'all the Friday to Saturday people, they think this is all they need, even though they're cut a million ways to Sunday. They literally will die on the hill of 1 Samuel 20, not realizing if they knew how to count, they can't even count with Pentecost. They think it's 50 days. Yahweh said it's the 4th month, right? But if they could count, they would understand 3 plus 3 is 6, right?
No, this is all they can do. This is all they can do.
What?
The lunar moon is a lie.
The lunar moon. Imagine that. No. Imagine the moon. The moon is a lie. Right, that's what he said. Because the lunar moon, you're number one. That's redundant because the lunar means moon, right? So it's a lie. So the moon is a lie.
The moon is a lie.
I guess so. 3 plus 3 is not 6, right? And 7 Sabbaths plus 50 equals 50 apparently.
Oh my God!
Right?
Has he even? Look what he said. The scripts say the moon was created on the 4th day. Damn.
Yeah, listen, this is why I'm not even looking at the chat, because I know it's going to be a lot of really simple people in the chat, and I really don't care. All right? I really don't give a damn, because after this, if you don't have a point-for-point refutement of this video, I really don't care to have a conversation with you about this. Just like with Vivi Asherah. You want to tell me Latinos aren't Israelites? I have a whole series for you to debunk point for point. If you can't do it, right? I'm not having a conversation with you about it. You need to come. We're laying it out. Debunk it. Simple, right? Go ahead.
Hey, that's crazy though, brother. The brother who talked about the moon. We got a whole presentation here. We already dealt with what day the moon was created. So just rewind it before you rewind it, and then tell me if 2 Ezra 14 is uninspired text, and we should just throw that away. So let's continue.
Where are my odds at in my chat too? Mods have been lacking.
Yeah, mods.
I've been having mods lacking like for a couple weeks now.
Hey, mods, brothers can, they can chime in, but the spamming and the insulting, that's gonna stop. Now, so David was hiding for 3 days, and he said it's been 3 days since he came out of hiding. That's 6 days going into the 7th, which would be the Sabbath, which is why he's eating the showbread. And this is why there's so many bombs in the chat, because they get it. This actually proves our point that the lunar Sabbath is biblical, right? So all praise to the Most High.
And now, here's what I'm gonna do too. Here's what I'm gonna do, and I've been meaning to do. There's a couple online resources that we've been working on through the Spirit and Power of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. So I'm gonna get a website together that's easy to access for everybody. That'll just literally be the calendar, so everybody can go and get it.
Now, the best argument people would say is that it doesn't take 3 days to get where he's going. You know what that is? That's called an assertion. You don't know what the hell he was doing for them 3 days. He didn't have to go straight to where he was going.
Yeah, why do he have to be on the journey? What are you kicking it? He's like, he's maneuvering strategically, trying not to buck with Saul.
And even then, your assertion does not take away what he said out of his own mouth. Hiding for 3 days, and he came out for 3 days.
He came out for 3 days. You mean to tell me he looked in the face of the high priest and lied? But the question is, but why would he though? What would be the point of him adding 3 days to his whole situation? There's no motivation to the lie.
Sean McGee, 3 plus 3, he was 6 going into the 7th. That's what we're saying. So he hid for 3 days, and it's been 3 days since he came out. That's the 7th day. After 3 days and after another 3 days is what day? Stop being so simple. If not, just wait until we maybe possibly bring your ass on here and give you this theological business. So let's continue. The next common argument. People say, you're right on cue. Hey, just crew. People say you can cook on the new moon, so that means it's not the Sabbath. People say you can cook on the new moon, so that means it's not a Sabbath. Where do they go to get this? Exodus 12 and 6. And ye shall keep it, the lamb, until the morning, until the 14th day, rather, of the same month, and the whole assembly of the congregation of Israel shall kill it in the evening. Now, they're trying to say that this is on the 15th. This is not going into the 15th. This is going into the evening, meaning the end of the 13th day into the 14th. So it's proper reading comprehension. There's no cooking going. Go ahead,
Salaki, just read it. So just read it. Because some of y'all are so simple. It's crazy to me how niggas don't know how to read. It's really like I'm just looking at it like, so wait, the 14th at evening doesn't mean the 14th, apparently. God is like, I thought the Most High was not the author of confusion. The 14th means exactly what God says it means. Yeah. The 14th, not the next day. He wouldn't have complicated it, right? So let's read.
Yeah, and I got a piece of it. Exodus chapter 12, verse 6. And ye shall keep it until the 14th day of the same month.
Right, go ahead.
And the whole assembly of the congregation of Israel shall kill it in the evening. I'm just gonna read it.
Hold on. So like you shall kill it in the evening on the 14th day, right? Now, so everybody understands the Sabbath, as is determined by the moon, is on the first. Then you add 7. 1 plus 7. Let's do simple math again. 8 plus 7, 15. Not 14, 15. Right. So the 14th, when we're killing the Passover, that's not the Sabbath, right? That's why we can kill it and eat it there, right? Go ahead.
Yeah. So I'm gonna read.
And Leviticus 23 is gonna amplify it more. Go ahead.
Did you want me to go to that New Testament? I don't want to jump the gun, but did you want me to hit that New Testament?
Not yet.
Okay. Wait. All right. Mm-hmm. Leviticus 23 and 4. I'm sorry, verse 5. It says, "In the 14th day of the first month at even." Is the Lord's Passover.
So that night, because that's the night we came out of Egypt. So that night, right? It's very specific on when we observe the Passover. That night, we got to eat it, right? The 14th at night. Read on.
And on the 15th day of the same month.
So the 14th day, we kill the Passover, right? And eat it. That's the day before the Sabbath. Read.
It says, and on the 15th day of the same month is the Feast of Unleavened Bread unto the Lord.
Is the next day is the Feast of Unleavened Bread. Passover and Feast of Unleavened Bread are separate. They run concurrent, but specifically, particularly, they are separate feasts. Read.
7 days.
It say how many?
7 days. You must eat unleavened bread.
Right. Read on.
In the first day,
which is the 15th day of the month. Read.
You shall have a holy convocation. You shall do no servile work therein.
Because you don't do that on Sabbaths. Exactly. But the day before the Sabbath, you can cook and do those various things. See that? Showing you that the Passover is not a Sabbath, and the 15th is a Sabbath in total correlation with the lunar cycle. Right? Go ahead.
It says, verse 8, but you shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord 7 days. In the 7th day, this will be 7 plus 15 is the
22. Yeah.
It's on in the 7th day is a holy convocation. You shall do no servile work therein. This whole coincidence, this is a real big coincidence that we're seeing.
The 15th and the 22nd.
Yeah.
The 1st, the 8th, the 15th, the 22nd is the only time we ever see Sabbath.
Yeah.
Right? What a coinky dink.
Yeah.
Right? Go ahead.
I have something too. This is 1 Samuel chapter 20. 1 Samuel chapter 20, verse 18. I'm gonna start at. It says, then Jonathan said to David, tomorrow is the new moon, and thou shalt be missed because thy seat will be empty. So this is the day before the new moon. Jonathan's telling David, this is tomorrow is the new moon. So then I'm gonna go to verse 24. So David hid himself in the field, and when the new moon was come, which would be the following day after Jonathan told him, tomorrow's the new moon, so this is the day of the new moon, the king sat him down to eat meat, and the king sat upon his seat as at other times, even upon his seat by the wall. I'm going to get to the point, verse 27. And it came to pass on the morrow, the day after the new moon, which was the 2nd day of the month, that David's place was empty. So that shows you that new moon is the 1st day of the month. That's where you get 1st, 8th, 15th, 22nd. That's where we see. So again, these same texts that they're trying to utilize for their benefit, it actually works completely against them.
And they're not getting the understanding because they're stuck in this fixed ideology, which you really get from Esau, that there's this fixed calendar. That's not a Hebraic concept at all. The Most High gave us a clock. Right? And here's how you want to know how you can do with the clock. The same way my grandma used to look up in the sky and go, it's about 1 o'clock, right? Because God gave us a clock. Before there was a Rolex watch, before you had a cell phone, right? The Most High gave a clock. We had been discontinued from our grandparents knew it. And look up in the sky. It can tell you what hour of the day it was by the sun. You can tell what day of the month it was by the. You can tell what season it was by the stars. That's what the Most High God gave us, right? And that's what we're saying to come back to. Everybody else want to come into the white man's ideology of it's Friday, it's the first of the month, it's a full moon, but somehow it's the first of the damn month somehow, right? But that's the middle of the month. See what I'm saying? Go ahead, Salakia.
Con, now you good. So hey, no lies. Chill, brother. Chill for a second, King. We already dealt with that, you know. Listen first, then rebuke. He just said nobody in history spoke of a lunar Sabbath. Philo, Josephus, and the Essenes spoke of a lunar Sabbath, that we would keep the lunar Sabbath. You talking about some Roman Greek faggot soldiers.
Yes. Every Israelite, every ancient Jew spoke of a lunar Sabbath. This was, you know what? It's okay, right? I'm going to tell you now, foolishness in my chat is going to get you hurt tonight, right? What you need to do, and this is what's wrong, all right? Wrong with a lot of our people, wrong with a lot of so-called Black and Hispanic men, right? I've been trying to listen to women lately, right? Hear them out. And you know what I've noticed, right? Where there's a common complaint of sisters, and I agree, right? Niggas be listening to respond too much and not listening to understand. We got to understand each other, man. Before you even can really engage with somebody, at least know where they're coming from. These niggas just trying to respond all the time. We listen to get understood. And the Bible teaches you that, though. It's like, what? Understand first, then rebuke the stupidity that you type, and we've already addressed it, right? You're late. Okay? Right. So do yourself a favor, shut up, all right? And listen, and maybe you'll learn something, or maybe you'll figure out how to combat us correctly, right? Right. And then, you know, you'll be able to cut us, right?
Right. So when you guys just come in, maybe think, we're first of all, there's only one individual who did the best lunar Sabbath presentation, and that's Tribe of Judah Teach. Coming to listen,
it's a lot, and all of you guys defer to him.
All you guys get the information, right? All you guys get his information, and then try to debunk the lunar Sabbath. So all we're doing,
it's like it. Shout out to the brother. We know the brother. We love the brother. All right, but I just think it's funny how many people have tried to ride off of his coattails on that work. Yeah. Right? Like every single body tries to do that, right?
And it's not even just with the Sabbath either.
So let's keep going, because we're going to address every major issue. So if we haven't addressed it while you just came in, either we already did or we're about to. There's nothing you can say that there's no angle, I promise you, that you could present that we haven't heard. We've heard it all for over a decade. So
yeah, we've been doing this lunar Sabbath a long time, y'all.
So now let's get to the next point. The next point is they're saying that we were doing servile work, maybe not servile work, but we were doing laborious work on the new moon. It's asserted that we were gathering branches to build our tabernacles. Now let's see.
An assertion.
An assertion.
Another assertion. Imagine that.
Another assertion. Okay, so let's go to Leviticus 23. Leviticus 23. Let's get back shared here. Leviticus 23. All praises. Verse 39. Also in the 15th day of the 7th month. This is the Sabbath. Let's see if it says we went and gathered our branches and started to build it, or did we already have it gathered? Because people say they were gathering on the Sabbath. The text don't say that at all. That's superimposing into the text.
Yet again.
So it says, also in the 15th day of the 7th month, when you have gathered in the fruit of the land, ye shall keep a feast unto the Lord 7 days. This is tabernacle. On the first day shall be a Sabbath, and on the 8th day shall be a Sabbath, right? Coincidentally, you see that 8th day being a Sabbath, right? Ain't that crazy? Excuse me. Verse 40 says, and ye shall take you on the first day the boughs of goodly trees, the branch of palm trees, and the bough of fig trees, and the willows of the brook, and you shall rejoice before the Lord your God 7 days. We already have the material here. We didn't go. It doesn't say we went to go do any gathering.
It said take it, right? I mean,
We
it's already
already come. So let's breeze through a couple more of these before we get into the presentation. And what we're just doing is dealing with the common argument.
It's like it. Read it over again. Read 39 from the top again. It's very, so we're going to read 39 into 40, right? Go ahead.
Okay, 1 second, because this computer is so slow. Hassan, can you get that for me, Baba Kasha?
Leviticus 25 and 39.
23 and 39.
23 and 39. Also, in the 15th day of the 7th month, when you have gathered in the fruit of the land.
You've what?
Gathered in the fruit of the land.
You've gathered in the fruit. You're going to pick the fruit. When you pick the fruit, what happens after it's been gathered? Right? Read.
You shall keep a feast unto the Lord 7 days.
Right.
On the first day shall be a Sabbath, and on the 8th day shall be a Sabbath.
Keep going. That's not my point. Go ahead.
You shall take you on the first day of the boughs of goodly trees, branches of palm trees, and the boughs of thick trees, and willows of the brooks, and you shall rejoice before the Lord your God 7 days.
Here's the beautiful thing about this, right? So first, after we've already gathered in the fruit, right? So where do you get the fruit from?
The trees.
From trees. So you're taking the branches off the trees when you're getting the fruit, and now you have them already. So then you build your booths out of them. You already did that when you gathered the fruit, not on the day, right? It's all in one thing. Okay.
Yeah, that's dope. We took the whole damn branch, right? We took the whole branch, took the fruit off the branch, took the branch, and already had it to go ahead and build our tabernacles. Very simple, right? So all praise to the Most High. Now the next point is. They assert in Numbers chapter 10 that we're building the tabernacle or the tent of the camp. In Numbers chapter 10, it's another assertion, to be quite honest. I think it starts at.
Yeah, and that's you can't. I'll show you why you can't do that. But go ahead, get it, and I'll show you why even if it's the case, right? Even if they assert it is correct, why that's a moot point.
Okay, Con. Numbers chapter 10, verse 10. Also, in the day of your gladness and in your solemn days and in the beginnings of your months, you shall blow with the trumpets over your burnt offerings and over the sacrifices of your peace offerings, that they may be to you for a memorial before your God. I am the Lord your God. And it came to pass on the 20th day of the 2nd month, in the 2nd year, that the cloud was taken up from the tabernacle of the testimony. And the children of Israel took their journeys out of the wilderness of Sinai, and the cloud rested in the wilderness of Paran.
The Holy One.
And they first took their journey according to the command of the Lord by the hand of Moses. In the first place went the standard of the camp of the children of Judah according to their armies, and over his host was Nahshon, the son of Amminadab, and over his host. So, and the tabernacle was taken down. I'm not sure.
And the sons of Gershom set it forward. So wait a minute, that's verse 17. So contextually, right? It came to pass, and your son, and it came to pass on the 20th day of the 2nd month. Yeah, this is not even good because this is the 20th day. It's not even the 21st day, when we would be keeping the Sabbath. It's like the 22nd day. It's not even the 22nd day. That's weird that they would even go here. But I can real quick. Oh, okay. And they departed the mount of the Lord. They departed from the mount of the Lord. You know, Moses for. I'm not even seeing where this correlates. And they departed from the mount of the Lord 3 days.
Well, let's just entertain it we don't see it here in the text. Maybe brothers' understanding is different, but we can just entertain it, whatever point he was going to make.
Yeah, but look, get Matthew 12 and 5. Let's say the priest did pitch the tabernacle on the Sabbath. So, Matthew 12 and 5.
Matthew chapter 12. Matthew 12 and 5. Or have you not read in the law how that on the Sabbath days, the priests in the temple profane the Sabbath and are blameless?
And are blameless. What does that mean? The priests profane the Sabbath and are blameless. The priests are doing the work of the Lord, doing things everybody else can't do. Work, physical, laborious, slaughtering animals, cooking, all those lighting fires, all those various things that the common Israelite cannot do, the priest did because it was the work of the Lord. So if we had to pitch the tabernacle on the Sabbath for the work of the Most High, then we would be able to do that. There's nothing against that whatsoever. So that would be a moot point, but that's still not a point because that's talking about the 20th day, not the 22nd day, which is when the Sabbath would be.
Okay, cool. So another issue, another point, and we're coming down to our last couple of points, and then we'll get into, then you guys can start dropping the bombs. You just got to obliterate the common arguments first, right? So Amos 8. So people say the lunar Sabbath keepers, they use Amos 8 to try to say that the new moon is the Sabbath. I'm gonna read this, Amos chapter 8, verse 5. And it reads, saying, when will the new moon be gone that we may sell corn, and
Now
the Sabbath that we may set? Go ahead.
Salakia, and the Sabbath that we may set forth wheat. So again, the reason why we go here is because the question is simple. Where in the law can you see where it's forbidden for us to make financial transactions on the new moon? Where does it say we can't sell on the new moon? It doesn't. It only says we can't sell on the Sabbath, right? That's the only place. So y'all gonna have to explain this. Now there is an explanation which Deacon is getting ready to deal with. Somebody's ill attempt of explaining this. Because there's no reason why we can't sell on the new moon unless it's a Sabbath, right? Go ahead.
All praises. So people assert that this is talking about the Feast of Ingathering. So we'll go to Leviticus 23 and verse 24 to 25. Now watch this, y'all. Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, in the 7th month, in the 1st day of the month, shall ye have a Sabbath, a memorial of blowing of trumpets, and a holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work therein, but ye shall offer an offerings made by fire unto the Lord. So brothers are asserting that, and Amos 5 is talking about this Feast of Ingathering in Leviticus 23. But it's a problem because contextually, verse 1 in Amos 8 says, thus have the Lord God showed unto me, and behold, a basket of summer fruit. You can nail them on that, Alazar.
Yeah, so the summer fruit, it cannot be talking about the 7th month, right? Which would be the feast of the Feast of Ingathering. So the Feast of Ingathering, if somebody said that, Feast of Ingathering would be the Tabernacles, the same as Tabernacles, right? Which is the middle of the month, right? So when you deal with the summer fruit, that's that harvest that we talked about earlier, which happens in the 4th month. And it doesn't happen at the beginning of the 4th, it's not the first day of the 4th month, right? So it's not contextually referring to trumpets at all, right? It's dealing with an ingathering. It's dealing with a harvest time, not the blowing of the trumpets.
So that's how you deal with that. Clearly, this is expressing to us that the new moon is a Sabbath, like the brother said, you know. So
and dictates all the other Sabbaths of the month. Point, officer.
Salaki too, because also, Deacon, one thing that they try to say, well, there's two things they try to say. One, it says new moon. They'll try to say, well, it says new moon and Sabbath. That shows you that they're two different things, the new moon and the Sabbath. Well, we're going to address that. But using that logic, Isaiah 45:4, for Jacob my servant's sake and Israel mine elect. That means that Jacob and Israel are now not the same.
Are two different people.
Are two different people, right? No, that's ridiculous. But I remember when I was debating the dude on the street, and I tried to say it in a way that people could understand. Every new moon is the Sabbath, but not every Sabbath is the new moon, because the new moon is the first day of the month. There's only one first day of each month. That is the day of the new moon. 7 days after that, the new moon is the Sabbath, but that is not the day of the new moon, because the day of the new moon is the first day of the month. Does that make sense?
Yeah, every new moon is not a Sabbath, but wait. How'd you word that again?
It's very simple, right? Every Sabbath is not a new moon, but every new moon is a Sabbath. Exactly. And every Sabbath is dictated by the new moon. It's measured by the new moon. Its proximity divisible by 7 of the new moon until the following new moon.
All right. So let's continue. We're almost done here. Christ and the Passover. They say, how can the Sabbath be according to new moon? at the whole Christ and the Passover situation. So I'm gonna stop sharing my screen just for a second because this is Hassan's specialty, man. Hassan, go ahead and bust him upside the head with the whole Christ and the Passover situation.
Okay, well, Hassan, get ready to air fry you.
Air them out, blow them away.
Let me read. I'm gonna start probably. I could just get to the point, but so I'll just read this first. This is Luke 22:15. This is red letter. It says, "And he said unto them, with desire, I have desired to eat this Passover with you before I suffer." So Christ is saying he's going to eat the Passover and then he's going to die. When you keep reading in the story, he breaks the bread and Judas betrays him. He goes in the Garden of Gethsemane, etc. Then it says, I think that's Mark 15:1. Let me see. Okay, so Mark then 15:1, because when you read early in Mark chapter 14, I'll show you an example. Verse 41. "And he cometh the third time and said unto them, Sleep on now and take your rest. It is enough. The hour is come. Behold, the Son of Man is betrayed into the hands of sinners. Rise up, let us go. Lo, he that betrayeth me is at hand." And here comes Judas with the company, and they take him. Peter cuts off the high priest's servant's ear, and they hold him overnight. That's why in Mark 15:1, "And straightway in the morning." So that following morning, after the Passover, the chief priests held a consultation with the elders and scribes.
Which is still the 14th day.
Which is still the 14th day, which proves that it's even. The even is a day. It says, "And scribes and the whole council, and bound Yahushua and carried him away and delivered him to Pilate." So remember, he keeps the Passover. It's still the 14th day. What proves that is, watch, I think it's John chapter 19. And watch this, John chapter 19. And let me see, where does Pilate say that? 1 second. John chapter 19. 1 second, select it. Okay. Is it Mark 15? Not about Mark 15 is select. Okay. Yeah, okay, that's okay. All right, cool. Mark 15, and again, this is right after the council. They deliver him to Pilate. Verse 4. "And Pilate asked him again, saying, Answerest thou nothing? Behold, how many things they witness against you. But Yahushua answered nothing, so that Pilate marveled." It says, "Now at that feast he released unto them one prisoner, whomsoever they desired." Now in John's account, it literally says the Passover is John 18. My bad, I think. John 18. And this is all just to establish that this same day is still the Passover. John 18:39. Here it goes. "But you have a custom that I should release unto you one at the Passover. Will you therefore that I release unto you the King of the Jews?" So the point is, this same day, the following morning, when they have this council and give Christ over to Pilate to put him to death, Pilate says, "Hey, look, it's the Passover today. You guys have a council, or not council, a custom that I give you guys a prisoner on the day of the Passover." It's still the Passover, and let's see what happens, right, when Christ is now killed. Mark chapter 15, and I'm going to go to verse 37. It says, "And Yahushua cried with a loud voice and gave up the ghost." So he dies. Then you go to verse 42. Here's the point. Here's all that is to say this. "And now when the even was come," the even of the 14th day, which is the Passover, "because it was the preparation, that is the day before the Sabbath." So the Bible says Christ died the day before the Sabbath. But it also says he died on the Passover,
which is the
14th day of the first month at even.
Which makes the 15th day Passover.
Exactly, which makes the Sabbath.
I mean, the Sabbath, rather.
And when you go into that, Leviticus chapter 23, and I'll start at verse 5. It says, "In the 14th day of the first month at even is the Lord's Passover." Christ dies on the 14th day.
Because he is the Passover.
Because he's the Passover.
So there's no way to get around that. You have to believe that Yahushua died on the Passover.
Exactly.
Right? But it calls it what? The day before the Sabbath. The preparation day.
Yeah.
Right? Go ahead.
"And on the 15th day," so the very next day after the Passover, of the same month is the feast of unleavened bread.
The feast of unleavened bread. Now go ahead.
Unleavened bread unto the Lord. 7 days you must eat unleavened bread. In the first day you shall have a holy convocation. You shall do no servile work therein. So the first day of the 7-day feast of the feast of unleavened bread, which starts on the 15th. The 15th is the Sabbath. The first day, which is the 15th, is the Sabbath. Then it says, but you shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord 7 days. In the 7th day, the last day of the feast of unleavened bread, which is the 22nd, is a holy convocation. You shall do no servile work therein.
Sabbath.
This is 1st, 8th, 15th, 22nd, demonstrated all throughout Scripture. That is how you determine when the Sabbath is. It's what the Bible says. What are you supposed to do?
That's it. That's where you get the concept of the 4 major phases of the moon, equating to 4 weeks in a month, etc. All that is there, and that's where we get that whole concept by what God gave us, which is the moon. 4 weeks, 4 Sabbaths, 1st, 8th, 15th, 22nd. We see it over and over and over and over again in the Scriptures.
Yeah.
Right? We see the day, the 15th clearly being called. So just coincidentally, the 15th that was your Friday.
And the 22nd.
But they believe that Yahushua died on a Wednesday.
Right.
Right? Come on, man.
Good Wednesday. What's it called? Good Wednesday?
You got Ash Wednesday. Then you got Good Friday. Right? Then you got Easter Sunday, Resurrection Sunday.
All praises. So let's. Okay, so you guys get it? He was in the ground.
Hold on. Wait, Deacon. Wait. We forgot one thing. Get the 3 days.
There we go.
It's been 3 days. Remember that one. When it says he rose the 3rd day. Okay.
Right, because they asked how can that be with the lunar Sabbath? So
he had to rise the 3rd day. So it wasn't the first day of the week, don't worry. Right? Go ahead.
No lies. No lies. No lies. We have a whole list of things we're going into, like most common arguments. The first one was the creation. You can literally take your thumb, rewind the YouTube to all the way when we were dealing with creation, brother. We're not going to stop class for you. Keep going. What we looking for?
Right. So go ahead.
Matthew chapter 27, and I'll start at verse 62. Now the next day that followed, the day of the preparation, the chief priests and Pharisees came together unto Pilate, saying, Sir, we remember that deceiver said, while he was yet alive, after 3 days I will rise again.
After 3 days will he rise again, right? Now, let's go skip to 28:1.
Matthew 28:1. At the end of the Sabbath, as it began to dawn toward the first day of the week, came Mary Magdalene and the other Mary to see the sepulchre.
Go ahead.
And behold, there was a great earthquake, for the angel of the Lord descended from heaven and came and rolled back the stone from the door and sat upon it.
Read on.
His countenance was like...
So we know this story, right? He's not there. He's already rose, right? So how is it 3 days? It's very simple, right? Killed him on the 14th. You got the 15th. The first day of the week is the 16th. That's when he rises. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. All right? Very simple. We know how to count, right? 3 days. That's when he rose, right? For that argument. But go ahead.
Yeah, it's not, the Bible's not talking about him rising after 72 hours. You want to know why? Because you start to decay after 72 hours, and the Bible promised that his body would not see decay.
Exactly. Come on. That's prophecy. He's not going to see decay. You know, but this is why, and everybody got to understand something, D. If y'all notice, we're dealing with prophecy, even with the timeline with 2nd Ezra 14. You see that? Prophecy is always the measuring stick. It is the word of Yahweh, man. It is the measuring prophecy in Torah. That is the measuring stick. Notice that's what we're using, right? Prophecy in Torah. Like that's going to be a primary witness every time. You can't trump it. Go ahead, D.
All praises. So now this is the last point before we go into our see, when you deal with a Rogerian argument. It's actually a presentation for you because you're refuting and vetting, and then you're presenting antithetical positions, right? So our presentation, it's not too long. So let's deal with the last argument. The Sabine calendar. Let's deal with the Sabine calendar. Oh!
Oh, Sabine calendar.
So brothers have some archaeological evidence of, you can share my screen.
Yes, sir.
Of the Sabine calendar, right? Now, the Sabine calendar, when you look at the source, now I've only seen it, I did some research on it. The Sabine calendar, they say, well, the Israelites were keeping a calendar, a 7-day week calendar. Yes, there was the Julian. It's so horrible. And I really hope and pray that we could possibly open it up for smoke, because a lot of people say the Sabine calendar, and they act like they say, yeah, there was 8 and 9 day weeks in the Roman calendar, but we in the first century had this 7-day Sabine calendar. Now it's so problematic because if you look up the Sabine calendar, it says that it's a part of the Julian calendar, which had 8 and 9 days. So if you're one of these brothers who say you're living in the weekly cycle, this cycle, I'm about to pull it up right here. This cycle right here that you niggas is living in is the same 7-day cycle from the beginning of time. You guys got the mark of the beast. And you I'm just saying, man, you guys are worshiping white people extremely too much to sit up here and say this North American 7-day Gregorian weekly cycle is the same cycle from the beginning of time. You literally worship the white man if you believe that, because
he's so perfect. He got it.
Right. Now, the Sabine calendar, anybody can look it up. It's a part of the Julian calendar. The Julian calendar started off with 7 and 8 and 9 day weeks. So that calendar already broke the 7-day week cycle that you claim to be from the beginning. And then what do we get from the Gregorian calendar? Part of it, from the Julian calendar, part of it is the Sabine calendar, which you guys say that certain Israelites were using back then. Whether we were using it or not, it came from, or it's a part of a calendar that had 8 and 9 day weeks that then out of nowhere changed it to 7-day weeks. I mean, like the brother said in the chat, man, people's sons and daughters can understand this. It's ridiculous, right? So let's just take a look. What brothers and sisters are in right now is the Gregorian calendar, where the first day of the week is Sunday and the last day of the week is Saturday, right? We're going to get to that in a second. So let's look at the Gregorian calendar. Since this is the 7-day cycle that God gave to Adam and Eve. God, that's crazy. Now let's look at how this came into Genesis, the Gregorian calendar. Look at this. This is clear. Anybody can look this up. Here's the source right here, and there's many more. The Gregorian calendar was a reform of the Julian calendar. The Gregorian calendar is a reform of the Julian calendar. What does that mean, Brody? It means that the 7-day cycle we are in today, this calendar, came from the Julian calendar that had 8 and 9 day weeks. So I respect it if a brother says, I don't believe this is the 7-day week cycle from the beginning that our forefathers had, but I'm just using the weekly cycle because it says the 7-day or whatever. But you got guys who really are saying that this Gregorian cycle goes back to Adam and Eve, which is just absolutely ridiculous, right? So we see that this calendar we're in, I know, prove it. That's funny. Was a reform of the Julian calendar. Now, let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at the Julian calendar and see where that calendar comes from. Let's click the Julian calendar. Very simple. We're on the Julian calendar. Now watch this. Look at this. The Julian calendar proposed by Julius Caesar was a reform of the Roman calendar. So now, hey, Alazar, you got a break off of a break off of a break off of a break. You're a break off of a break off of a break off of a break off, right? So we got the Gregorian calendar that we're in now. Yes, it has 7-day cycles, but there's a reform of a calendar, the Julian calendar, that had 8 and 9-day week cycles, and then the Julian calendar is a reform of the Roman calendar, which had 9-day weeks. So you can't say the 7-day cycle we're in now is the one that the Hebrews were using in the wilderness and Mount Paran and crossing
the holy one.
You can't say that. Look at the Roman day. Look at the Roman calendar. All you got to do is look at the Nundinal cycle, right? And it talks about 9-day weeks, man. I mean, look at this. Look at this. The Nundinal cycle, market week, or 8-day week. So you got a calendar that had 8 9-day weeks, which is the Roman calendar. Julius Caesar made a reform of that. He still had 8-day weeks, and then he changed it to 7-day weeks. That breaks, if this is the 7-day week cycle, it was broken with the Roman calendar. And then then Julius Caesar finally changed it to 7-day weeks. Then the Gregorian reformed that, and that's where we are at now as far as it pertains to North America, right? So I wanted to just deal with that. That would be the last point. But since we're dealing with common arguments, and since this is the last point, we're going to transition into something, right? So,
like a transitional day.
Since we cut the whole Sabian calendar nonsense, right? Now let's get the chat involved just for my next point. Unless you guys had anything on this history.
Nah. It's history is give you. I mean, we have the earliest record. We went into this before that we have of days goes back to 60 AD, and it was Wednesday. But it actually, it called it a Sunday, but it actually goes back to, if we tracked it back from now to then, it would actually go back to Wednesday. So that actually shows you that even what we know as Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, even what we know as that now is not the same as it was even 2,000 years ago, right? So all that is moot. Go ahead, Deacon Salaki.
Hey, moderators. Everybody don't have to agree with us, bro. As long as they're not spamming or being disrespectful, chill a little bit.
Mike Goody, y'all by Shimei Ashar Barakatah for water. Yeah, that's a good precept as well.
Yeah, because Deacon, all of the Julian, the Gregorian goes back to what you said. The Gregorian goes back to the Julian, which goes back to the Roman, right? Mm-hmm. Daniel 7:25. I'll just get to the point. And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws.
And think to change. So they thought they put out a conspiracy to change times. Now, what's funny is the brother Silverback, he just went to Sirach 12 and 10, trust not your enemy. He said, how can we not trust them but trust the calendar? So we know that they have a plot to play with time, right? And then we know not to trust them, but then we're trusting them on being the curators of time from the beginning of time. What?
I'm not trying to be. Let me know if this is Salakia, if this is me being an asshole, right? The fourth beast, right, is the Roman Empire.
Yes, sir.
And in Revelation 12, it calls the Roman Empire the devil and Satan. So am I? Listen, Dick, am I stretching when I say you follow Satan's calendar?
No, you're not stretching.
Because the fourth beast, which is the Roman Empire, is called the devil and Satan. And the Julian.
Hold on, but wait. Yeah. Not only is the fourth beast called the devil and Satan, but you're also keeping the same Sabbath as the synagogue of Satan. Oh, interesting. and we know that they love Saturn's day and they hallow the day of Saturn, right? For a reason, because they worship Saturn. It's why they have the cubes on their head. It's why they wear yarmulkes on their head. It's why they dress in all black, to worship Saturn. That's why they have a Sabbath on Saturn's day. Y'all gotta wake the hell up, man. Salakia. We've been holding back for a long time. Listen, if after this you still keep a Friday to Saturday, I don't hate you. I love you. I don't even care. I'm not gonna judge you. But here's what I'm gonna say. You've relied on Satan and the synagogue of Satan to keep a Sabbath, right?
Now what's cold though, here's what's cold though, Alazar and Hassad, How you like that, son? But here's what's cold, y'all. So the Julian calendar started 46 BC, so about 50 years before Christ. But remember, it said his calendar is a reform of the Roman calendar. The Roman calendar's Genesis goes back to when there were black or melanated Japhites or Europeans. Look at this. The Roman 8-day week, the Nundal week, was shared with the Etruscans. That means 600 years before Christ, this Roman calendar had 8 and 9-day weeks, clearly breaking the 7-day week cycle from the beginning. And then here's Julius Caesar comes out of nowhere 600 years later and say, I'm going to take this calendar.
I'm going to just take it down a couple of days.
I'm going to take it down a couple of days. I'm going to still have some 8 days, but eventually we're going to phase out of that and get into the 7 days. And then here's...
but I also believe that is preserving from the time, from the creation now.
So, all right, cool. So now we're done with this. Now, I want to get since we're on calendars, I want to get the chat involved here. This is going to be fun. I want to get the chat involved here. This is going to be great. All right, chat.
Hold on. So I got some. Go ahead.
Go ahead, brother.
Heard of biblical inerrancy. This is calendrical inerrancy.
They believe in calendrical inerrancy.
Okay, so for my brothers and sisters who keep the Friday the Sabbath, this isn't an attack. This isn't a debate. We love, like Alazar said, we love you guys. Like I said, come to the concert, man. I'll give you a free show. I'll still give some marriage counseling to your marriage. You know what I'm saying? But I want to ask you guys this for the Friday night to Saturday night keepers. What is the first day of the week? What is the first day of the week? What is it called today?
Oh! I can't wait till I see the first one here. Watch
Let's get the Friday, Saturday keeper. We still love you guys. We're just here to bring you guys this truth and sincerity.
It's true, Bob.
Okay, we got Sunday.
Oh, Sunday.
Sunday. Okay. I said for the Friday to Saturday keeper. Sunday.
Hey, look, smart brothers are going day one. Day one.
Sunday,
right?
Sunday.
Oh, Sunday.
First day.
All praises.
First day out.
Moon day.
Okay, Moon day. All
Somebody call it Fun Day.
Sunday, Fun Day.
Sunday. So let me share my screen again. Yeah, where no lies at? Somebody said, where's no lies at?
I timed him out for a second because he was doing too much, but he was just timed out. He should be back by now.
Right. Okay. Now let me share my screen again. Let me share my screen again. This is the fun part where we get the chat involved, right? So we're gonna go back here. Now, okay, so you guys, if you guys said Sunday, according to the North American Gregorian calendar week cycle, Sunday would be the first day of the week, right? Now,
let me know when you're ready.
Put them bombs in the chat, man. Put them bombs in the chat right now.
Is scary hour starting early? It'd be early scary hour.
It's scary. We need scary faces and bombs in the chat. We need scary faces and bombs in the chat. Right? So we got Sunday being the first day of this Gregorian weekly cycle over here in North America. Now, let's go to...
Want me to show you? Want me to show you
time and date. Yeah, share my screen. All right, let's type in China. Let's type China in.
Oh,
China. Let's just look at China. One of the most populated places on the planet. China.
It's Israelites over there.
Yeah.
It's brothers over there.
Send them.
All right. Major,
Okay. So China has the first day of the week as Monday. So their Sabbath, the Israelites over there will be keeping if they really believe that the weekly cycles, wherever they are God's weekly cycle, they will be doing their Sabbath Saturday night to Sunday night. So who's wrong here? Let me get my statistics real quick, and we're gonna keep going on this one. We gonna hammer it. Yeah, the mamzer.
The real mamzer.
Right.
Now look. Out of 195 countries, 164 countries have Monday as the first day of the week. So, I mean, do you guys say them brothers there are keeping the wrong Sabbath if they're doing Saturday to Sunday? Or you telling everybody they got to follow the North American goddamn devil who has the weekly cycle starting at Sunday? This goes to show you that it's so problematic dealing with heathen calendars. You have to resort back to the Most High's calendar, which is predicated off of the luminaries, man.
Yeah, if I could do this, let me just get Genesis 1:14, because just like he said, look how problematic it is when you trust in the calendars of the heathens, right? Just think about how problematic that is. So not just to mention this, but you got to remember, many of the indigenous and West African cultures that we come from kept a lunar calendar, right? But watch this. Just go to Genesis 1:14. This is what I got for y'all. All right, and this is what happens when you trust in the heathen, right? Go ahead.
Genesis 1:14.
Uh-huh.
And God said, "Let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven."
Let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven. Up in that sky, there are lights. There are luminaries, like the brother Deacon just said. Read.
It says, "To divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs."
Let them be for what?
Signs.
Signs. Read on.
Seasons.
Seasons. Read on.
Days.
Days. Read on.
And years.
And year. So how we tell time is by the lights that God put up in the heavens, man. That's how we tell time, not by a Hooters calendar, not by the white man's calendar, not by the Chinese man calendar, but by God gave us lights in the heavens to tell time. He didn't give us nothing else. Jeremiah 7.
Jeremiah 17 and 5.
17, Salakia.
It says, "Thus saith Yahweh."
This is what Yahweh said. Yahweh, the one who gave you sun, moon, and stars to tell time, he said this. Read.
"Cursed
Cursed is what?
be the man that trusteth in man."
You're cursed if you trust in this man's calendar. You're cursed if you're going by anything but what God gave you to tell time. You are cursed because you trusted in man. Read it again from the top.
"Cursed be this is Jeremiah 17 and 5. "Thus saith Yahweh, cursed be the man that trusteth in man, and maketh flesh his arm."
That's what you've done. You've made flesh your arm because you think the good old white man has maintained calendrical integrity from the beginning of time. And he just now calls it Friday and Saturday. No, God has kept that through sun, moon, and stars. All right? That the white man can't fly up there and move the moon. He can't move a star. He can't move the sun. Only the Most High. You don't believe me? Give me Jeremiah, Salaki. Right?
Jeremiah 33 and Jeremiah 33 and 20.
No, 31.
I got it.
Go ahead.
Jeremiah 33 and 20. "Thus saith the Lord, if you can break my covenant of the day and my covenant of the night, and that there should not be day and night in their season, then may also my covenant be broken with my servants."
See that? So if the white man could go move around the sun, moon, and stars, guys, then it wouldn't even matter what Sabbath we kept, because we wouldn't be God's people anymore. He'd be done with us if that was possible. But it's impossible. It is redundant. He gave us sun, moon, and stars to tell time. Stop trusting in man. You trying to break these curses? You trying to reverse curses? Well, one of the reasons you cursed is for trusting in man, right? When God gave you something clear, right? Go ahead.
Yeah, wait, this is what you want. So,
they both work, but go ahead and hit that
Jeremiah 31 and 37. "Thus saith Yahweh, if heaven above can be measured, and the foundations of the earth searched out beneath, I will also cast off all the seed of Israel for all that they have done."
See that? You see that right there? So now let's go real quick. Let me give me one more. Give me 1 Chronicles 12 about Issachar. The sister bring up a good point about the tribe. Of course, she said Issachar is the specialist of the stars in the first place. You're correct. Now watch this about Issachar. Right, go ahead.
1 Chronicles 12 and 32. "And of the children of Issachar, which were men that had understanding of the times."
Which are men who had understanding of times, of sun, moon, and star, which they carried over to this side of the world. We all know that, right? It's not a secret. You've seen Apocalypto, right? Go ahead.
"To know what Israel ought to do. The heads of them were 200, and all their brethren were at their commandment."
So you mean to tell me that the Issacharites could read the stars and know what strategy that we should take and go into war, right? God was giving him messages of war strategy, but he wasn't telling us what day the Sabbath was with the same. We couldn't find out something as simple as days and weeks and months. Come on, man. All right, y'all got to wake the hell up. Go ahead.
This is Psalm 81:3.
Talk about it.
Blow up the trumpet in the new moon.
In the what?
In the new moon.
In the new moon, read.
In the time appointed on our solemn feast day.
In the time appointed.
Yeah.
When is the new moon appointed? We don't see the new moon spoke of and specifically singled out, right? Isolated throughout the law. We see the Sabbath, right? So what else is it but the Sabbath, which is why we see regulations telling us we can't sell on that day, right? More?
Yeah, it says, for this was a statute for Israel and a law of the God of Jacob.
Oh, so when was this statute? Go ahead.
And real quick, because there's, going back to right there, 1 Chronicles 12:32, the tribe of Issachar, they had, they were men of understanding to know what Israel ought to do. There was no, they weren't looking at it, okay, guys, the calendar, it's reached that day, blow the trumpet. No, they're looking.
The Sports Illustrated swimsuit calendar, they didn't have that.
They're looking at the ordinances that the Heavenly Father gave us back in Genesis chapter 1. Then they're blowing the trumpet. They're not looking at a calendar. Okay, guys, now it's the new moon, blow the trumpet. They're looking at the moon.
Yeah, and I'm telling you now, if I see anybody make any comment about something we already have tackled and beaten already, I'm just going to time you. I'm not going to block you. I will time you out, though.
Right. That's what I said.
So know just know if you get timed out that we've already debunked whatever you have to say. It's already been addressed through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shemel. Go ahead, Alex.
Okay, so you can share my screen again. I want to continue just a couple more points because everybody said the first day of the week is Sunday. That's only over here. Not only, but
it's mostly in the Western world, the white man's world.
Mostly. But look at Russia. Russia, they got their first day of the week on Monday. That's a whole lot of crackers. So really, it's just like the I guess you could say the
Western.
Right, yeah. Now look. So we got Russia. So the point we're making is you guys can't come out, and I'm gonna put my iOS calendar. You can't come out and tell the whole world that God's Sabbath is on Friday to Saturday night, because in certain countries, which majority of the countries, which is 164 out of 195, have the first day of the week at Monday, so their Sabbath would be Saturday night to Sunday night.
The majority of the world wouldn't keep that Sabbath, man.
Right.
It's just like when people try to come against polygyny and saying, well, you can't legally get married. Well, I mean, okay, in America, you can't legally get married to multiple people, but there are dozens of countries throughout this earth where that's totally acceptable, right? So what's the problem with
it?
Now look at this. Look at Ireland. Let's just look at Ireland. Look at these devils. Out in Ireland, their first day is Monday. I'm just going to click a few. Look at the United Kingdom. So not even all the Western powers. Very minority of the world keeps Sunday as the first day. Look at in the United Kingdom, it's Monday.
And there's a lot of Israelites over there. A lot of brothers in the truth over there.
Yeah, I want to know if you brothers in the truth, because there's so many of you guys in the United Kingdom, are y'all keeping Friday to Saturday to try to be like the crackers in North America? And the niggas
hey, hold on. They trying to be like him whose look is more stout than his fellow. You better follow the white man who you up under. He said the first day is Monday.
God, let's see. What else, man? Look at Belize. Oh, I know there's Israelites in Belize. Look at this.
Benjamin down there.
Their first day is Monday. Their first day is Monday in Belize. You Israelites better not be trying to say, oh, we want to follow them crackers up in North America, man, and have Sunday to be the first day. No, your calendar there says the first day is Monday.
That's right.
Anybody can look this up. It's timeanddate.com, or you can just Google it. What is the first day here? What is the first day there? What is the first day here? It's simple stuff, right? So again, out of the alleged 8 billion people on the planet, more than half of those people have Monday as their first day of the week. Therefore, they will be, if they're in the truth, they should be keeping Saturday night to Sunday night. Casket, the coffin text. Right?
That's what coffin text.
Coffin text. Right? Okay, so now let's hit the Bible, right? Let's get into the Bible. Oh, praise. Even though we've been in the Bible, but let's get back in the Bible, and we're going to deal with, let's get this blue letter, man. Psalms 104. Psalms 104, 19. Psalms 104, 19. He appointed the moon for seasons. So let's take a look at this word for seasons. You got some people who claim to be Hebrew Israelites and don't go into the Hebrew. Look at it, Strong's G 4150, right? 4150. Appointed place, appointed time, appointed time, appointed times. Let's look at where it's used at, right? Oh, let's just look. Strong's H 4150, right? So the moon dictates these. I want you guys to understand that. The moon dictates the seasons, which means the feasts. So let's see, where can we find that at in the Bible? And this should be close the door, it's over. We should not even deal with it no more. Leviticus 23 and 2. Leviticus, Hassad, you can hold Sirach 43. It's time for that. Now look at this. Leviticus 23 and 2. Speak unto the children of Israel and say unto them concerning my feasts of the Lord, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations. These are my feasts. Now let's take a look at this, because the first feast it names is the Sabbath. 6 days shall work be done, but the 7th day is the day of rest and holy convocation. You shall do no work therein. It is the Sabbath day of the Lord in your dwellings. Now let's take a look at this. Let's see if it should be dictated by the moon according to Strong's H 4150. Oh, it's here. The
times, the feast seasons, the feast of Yahweh, the first one.
You see that?
So the first one, if the times or the seasons of the feast are relegated by the moon, and the first time or season of feast that we see God command us to keep is the Sabbath in Leviticus 23, then how in the hell is it not relegated by the moon? Let me know.
So
I need something to make sense.
According to the Bible and precepts, all of our feast days are dictated by the moon, and the Sabbath is considered a feast day here. Strong's G 4150 is dictated by the moon. I don't know how the hell you
don't get it. There's a whole other calendar too. You know what that when these brothers talk about this other weekly mystery calendar, you know what it sounds like to me? No, it sounds like the Talmud. Oh yeah, there's that law, but there's also this oral law that we didn't write down anywhere that we just been keeping mysteriously this whole time. Don't that sound like that to you, Deacon?
Yeah, they've been there. Yeah,
it sounds like the Talmud because you got it from the people that practiced the Talmud in the first place, the synagogue of Satan.
So people will use verse 4 to try to say, you see how it separates what was said before and what was said after? Now look at this. These are the feasts of the Lord, even holy convocations, which shall be proclaimed in their seasons. So you got people who think they're Hebrew Israelites, but who lean too much on the English language. Now they say, well, yes, the Sabbath is a feast, but it's not a season. And they try to separate the feast from the seasons. They try to say that the seasons are the holy days, and those are dictated by the moon. But you can't do that because we just proved in Psalms 144 that Strong's H 4150. Now watch this. This is going to cut this fake Hebrew Israelite camp that I once knew a long time ago. Now look at this. Strong's H 4150. The feast. That's the same as Psalms 104 said should be dictated by the moon, right? Now watch this. What's this word for seasons? Oh, it's Strong's H 41 and 50. Somebody's leaky right now. So according to the Hebrew, everything, seasons and feasts are the distinction without a difference. Same word in Hebrew. Both have to be dictated by the new moon. By the moon. So you got to learn Hebrew if you want to be a Hebrew Israelite or a Hebrewite.
No, a Hebrewite. The water. No, we don't got it for sale. It's not a physical thing.
All praises, right? So from there, we just went into the Bible, Psalms 104, said the moon dictates the Strong's H4150s. The Sabbath is known as the Strong H4150, so the moon would dictate it. The feast days are called Strong's H4150, so the moon will dictate them too. That's game over. But we're going to continue. Let's get Sirach 43.
Sirach 43:6. He made the moon also to serve in her season for a declaration of times and a sign of the world. From the moon is the sign of feast, a light. Verse 7. From the moon is the sign of feast.
And the first feast is what?
The Sabbath.
Oh, coincidentally, right? Go ahead.
A light that decreaseth in her perfection.
Mm-hmm. Also, the new moon is not the full moon. The light decreaseth in her perfection. Meaning what? As the moon completes its cycle, the light gets less and less, right? So it fades to black. That's literally what that means. Don't let anybody use a sleight of hand on you with that. It means that the light gets less or it diminishes as the cycle of it completes. That's what perfection means. All right. It means completion, right? Don't let nobody sleight of hand you on that. Right.
So I want to go to one of our favorites. I know Hassan loves this. We all love this. Ezekiel 46.
And that's why we love him.
Now, Ezekiel 46, I'm not sure how. I think brothers are getting out of this, Alazar, to say that. I think we talked about this. They're saying that the new moon overrides the high holy days override the Sabbath or something like that.
Yeah, which take your guys' alleged perfect fixed 7-day cycle and still throws it out. It's still thrown out. Right? So you have to give it up, and you can't actually criticize transitional days if you believe that, for the record.
Good. That's a cut. Hassan, you can break it down because really, no matter how they try to explain it, there's no way of getting out of Ezekiel 46, 1 and 2. Break it down, Shatar.
He stepped off. So
oh, shit. Okay. Got it. I'll read it. Verse 1, Ezekiel 46 and 1. Thus saith the Lord God, the gate of the inner court that looketh toward the east shall be shut the 6 working days. 6 working days, it's shut. It's not shut 5, it's not shut 4, it's not shut 3, or God is a liar. But on the Sabbath it shall be open, and in the day of the new moon it shall be open. So go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead, you bring it down.
So closed every day except the new moon and the Sabbath, but it's got to be closed for 6 days.
You know what that means, guys? If you have a new moon on Wednesday and you have your Friday to Saturday night Sabbath, the gate is only closed 5 days. That means God is a liar.
Yeah.
God said it has to be closed 6 working days. What does that prove? That the Sabbath is always going to fall on the new moon. This proves that the new moon, the Sabbath, is initiated by the new moon. Thus saith the Lord.
Yes, Amir, you start counting at the new moon. At the new moon.
Okay. So now let's get, because a lot of people had some sources. I wanted to talk about those sources. A lot of people go to these Greek soldiers, such as I got it pulled up here.
These pedophile,
these pedophile Greeks, man. Let me see what's their names. These pedophile Greek soldiers who said we were keeping a Saturday. So Julius Frontinus says our Sabbath was on a Saturday. Now, this is what's alleged, but I'm just going to be real with you guys. When I look in the book, I cannot find him saying that. I'm just going to be real with you guys.
That's why you gotta actually read the source.
When I look at the source, I do not see him saying that. But
don't tell me what somebody told you the source said. Show it to me in the source.
Right. So that'd be people's favorite arguments, is that, these Roman Greek soldiers, the faggots, they were saying that we were keeping, and this was after 70 AD, like 20 years almost after 70 AD. They're not even primary sources. So we're going to go to 3 Israelite sources that were living during the time of Christ and then we're going to show you that they said that we kept the lunar Sabbath. So we got 3 sources. All praises to the Most High. Now, to entertain that, let's say our Sabbath fell with the new moon, with the Sabbath being according to the new moon, the Sabbath can fall on a Saturday for that moon cycle. That's for one. And for two, there may have been some Israelites who wanted to adopt the ways of the homosexual Romans and follow their calendar. That's not far-fetched. But what do we rely on when it comes to the world of academia and scholarship? Our own people, the Israelites. Julius Frontinus is not or Cassius is not a more credible or renowned source than Josephus the Essenes, who actually recopied the Dead Sea Scrolls, and Philo.
I mean, literally, Philo is relied upon for much of the history of the ancient world in totality, right? He's a contributor to the whole. He's one of the most relied upon historians ever in the history of all academia. One, Josephus is one of the most relied upon historians in Hebrew Israelite history, right? And Philo as well, but Philo also is reliable for just history of the world in general. And then again, the Essenes is how we validate the scripture. So what sources are more reliable? These people that y'all wouldn't reference for any other purpose in the whole world, or the people who actually are necessary for us proving what we believe in totality, right?
That's a good point. That's a good point. So let's deal with this, because somebody came on here saying that we don't have any ancient sources saying that the Israelites kept the lunar Sabbath. Let's get real Israelites before 70 AD, living during contemporary with Christ. Contemporaneous. I like that word. Contemporaneous with Christ.
I like it.
So let me share my screen again. Source documents on you niggas, man. You see? Okay, let me share my screen. Let me know when I'm golden.
All right, here we go.
Okay, so through this article or site, he's gonna quote the sources. So we'll quote them once I get there. Of course, just to be real, of course, anybody who's presenting something most of the time has a bias. So I'm not really worried about what the individual of this site is saying like that. We're going to actually examine the sources though, right? So let's first go. So Philo, this is true that he lived approximately from 20 BC to 50 CE. 20 BC to 50 CE, that means he would be contemporaneous with Yahushua, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, right? So let's just take a look at some of his work here, right? First of all, he never mentioned Saturday in any of his works. So let's go to the first source. Okay, look at this. An allegorical interpretation. And I think that's book 1, chapter 8. It says, again, the periodical changes of the moon take place according to the number 7. Why didn't he say Saturday?
Oh.
Philo trumps all your little homosexual Greek soldiers who helped destroy the Israelites in 70 AD. This predates that, and it's your own brother telling you we're keeping the lunar Sabbath during the time of Christ. Now watch this. The star, talking about the moon, having the greatest sympathy with things on earth, and the changes which the moon works in air, it perfects chiefly in accordance with its own configurations on each 7 day. Not only does this prove that we're tracking the Sabbath by the moon in every 7-day interval, but it also disproves that the new moon is the full moon.
Right? You go from its configurations from dark to half to full to half back to dark.
Now, at all events, all mortal things, as I have said before, drawing their more divine nature from the heaven, are moved in a manner which tends to their preservation in according with this number 7. So basically what he's saying is that what people say today. On the full moon, people start acting crazy. That's basically what he's saying. Accordingly, on the seventh day.
And Salakia, and just so y'all can understand scientifically why, and this is why the Most High want us in the house on the full moon in the first place. The reason why people start acting crazy on full moons is because the moon literally correlates to rising tides, right? So like when the moon is full, the tides will rise, right? You have to remember that our bodies are made up predominantly of water. So they actually, when that moon is full, it activates you. You see what I'm saying? That's why people always act wild on the new moons. And this is something that you can observe throughout the annals of history. And that's why, it's because the water in your body, the moon is actually elevating, just like it does at sea level, right? The higher tide, bigger waves, things like that are correlated with the moon. So that's what he's talking about.
Khan. Now look what it says. Accordingly, on the seventh day, Elohim caused to rest from all his works which he had made. But the point is as you see, it's underlining, saying in changes with the moon works in the air, it perfects chiefly in accordance with his own configuration on each seventh day. Now, if you're reading that in the Hebrew, it's going to say each Sabbath day, period. That's what it's going to say, right? So let's continue here. I will read a little bit of it because we just read the source. Notice that Philo says the moon is perfect in its shape or appearance at 7-day intervals. Had a Hebrew-speaking Israelite written this, he would have said it perfects chiefly in accordance with his own configuration on each Sabbath day.
Exactly, right? On each Sabbath day. Now, read that again.
It says, had a Hebrew-speaking Israelite written this.
Oh, before that.
Notice that Philo says the moon is perfect in its shape or appearance at 7-day intervals.
At 7-day intervals, it's perfect, and that shows you that the new moon is a dark moon. That shows you that too, because it's perfect. Because a sliver being there is not perfection, because it's a little bit showing. But it being dark, that's perfection. Then it being half is then it being full, right? Then it being half again, and it going back dark. That's showing you. That's proving you the Sabbath is dictated by the moon, and the new moon is a dark moon. It's showing you both with that source.
Okay, cool. Now let's look at the Decalogue. This is another work of Philo. The Decalogue 30, I believe page 159. I'm not good with Roman numerals. You know it's better. You know what we said? It's better to eat pork than to speak Greek, right? So now,
and we're just gonna move that on to Roman.
Hey, Don Israel, there are Israelites who say that the new moon
is the full moon, but we of course have qualified that that's not our stance, and we just further proved it with that source.
Con. All right, so let's continue. The Decalogue 31:59. I need you guys to be quiet, go in your rooms. But to the seventh day of the week, he assigned the greatest festivals. This is the coldest one. Hey, Hassan, this is so cool. Hey, put them bombs in the chat, man. Put them bombs in the chat.
Put the bombs. I want a cold face. I want a bomb. I want the moon. I want a moon in the chat. And
put the moons in the chat. Put the moon in the chat. There you go.
Put the moon emoji in the chat.
The moon emoji, the scary emoji, the bomb emoji. This is the bomb right here. Now watch this. But to the 7th day of the week, he assigned the greatest festivals. Our greatest festivals is the Feast of Unleavened Bread and the Feast of Tabernacles. That means the longest ones. Now watch what he said. Those of the long, hold on. How can, that means, what he's saying is that these days have to start on the Sabbath. Now I got a question for you guys. According to our brother Philo, who lived during the time of Christ, do your guys' tabernacles and unleavened bread start on a Sabbath?
Maybe by luck sometimes, but certainly not every year.
Now look what it says. But to the 7th day of the week, but to the 7th day of the week, he assigned the greatest festivals, those of the longest duration, at the period, at the periods of the equinox, both vernal and autumnal. Where is it? In each year,
the autumn, which that's dealing with what they call the hunter's moon, The Hunter's Moon, which is around that time of Tabernacles, every year, the Hunter's Moon.
Appointing 2 festivals for these 2 epochs, each lasting 7 days. The one which takes place in the spring before the perfection of what is being sown, and the one which falls in autumn being a feast of thanksgiving for the bringing home of all the fruits which the trees have produced. That's cold.
Oh, which the trees have produced, which we read about
in Leviticus
earlier.
It's cold.
No, it's not called. It's called the what is it called? I think it's called the called like the corn moon. The corn moon, right? The corn moon. For yeah, just 2 days before the fall equinox. The corn moon, which was right when we kept it came in. It said on September 20th. So that's right. What days we kept tabernacles? Right around there, right? September 20th. It was that week, right? It was like that week or within days of that, right? Hold on. Let me go back. We kept tabernacles. Yeah, the 20th, starting the 20th to the 28th, exactly. With the corn moon, which is exactly what he's talking about. Read that source again.
It says, we're starting right here. You guys can zoom in if you don't got your glasses. But to the 7th day of the week, he assigned the greatest festivals, those of the longest duration at the periods of the equinox, both vernal and autumnal.
And autumnal, which the corn moon is the moon before the vernal equinox, which came in on the same day that Feast of Tabernacles started. Right, go ahead.
In each year, appointing 2 festivals for these 2 epochs, each lasting 7 days.
And this is how perfect the Most High is, because when we put the calendar together through the Spirit, we don't go Google when is the corn moon and make it. You see what I'm saying? We just line it up exactly how the Most High says. We start where we're supposed to start at, follow Leviticus 23, and lay the year out. And then it just so happens to all this stuff just correlates, right? It just falls right into play in the Spirit. That's not a coincidence.
But the point is, the point he's harping on is that.
Hold on, Jamesy, you keep spamming this same question. We're not taking questions right now, bro. All right, so wait until later. Go ahead, Slack it.
So it says, but the 7th day of the week he has signed for the greatest festivals, meaning what? That the tabernacles and unleavened bread have to fall on this 7th day, which is the Sabbath. That won't happen consistently unless you're on a lunar calendar, lunar Sabbath schedule.
Read it again, please.
It says, but to the 7th day of the week, he has assigned the greatest festivals, those of the longest duration at the periods of the equinox, both vernal and autumnal in each year, appointing 2 festivals for these 2 epochs, each lasting 7 days. The one which take place in the spring being for the perfection of what is being sown, and the one which falls in autumn being a feast of thanksgiving for the bringing home of all the fruits which trees have produced.
So it shows you that if you're not keeping the Feast of Tabernacles on the corn moon, then it's not appropriate according to this source. It has to be on the corn moon because it has to go in accordance with the lunar cycle in relation to the autumn equinox, right? Which the corn moon is the one just before the autumn equinox, but it calls that day the 7th day, right? So that means the 15th day of the month is the 7th day, is the Sabbath day, right? And so we've showed that in the first month of the year. How many places we got to show that, right? Now the 7th month of the year. Are these just coincidences?
Even the first time we see the Sabbath being introduced to us, was it the 15th day and then the 22nd?
The 22nd day of the first month or the second month, Yeah. So we're seeing it on this first month. We're seeing it in the second month. We're seeing it in the 7th month. We're seeing it over and over and over again all throughout the Bible through the Spirit.
Hey, and if you're just now coming in, this Philo is a primary source, not your Roman soldier from 96 AD. This is an actual Hebrew Israelite telling you how we observed our Sabbath and high holy days.
He's a primary source for an Israelite and a primary source for the entire history of the planet.
That's right.
Right? It's not a game when you deal with Philo here, right? Philo, the Egyptian. When you deal with Egypt, they're going to worry about Philo and Manetho. That's who they're going to rely on their history for it, right? It's Philo and Manetho, right?
Right. He's up there with Herodotus. If you niggas don't know what that is,
That's
Herodotus.
Right. Y'all gotta go into you gotta go into the history, man. You know.
Okay, now let's see. The
real history, and I want to give a shout out to the conscious community, right? Because through battling them, you understand how to pinpoint your sources and sharpshoot your sources, and you realize that y'all just be opening books and reading stuff, and you think it's a good source, and it's crap, right? Like those Roman soldiers.
Now look at this. It says, elsewhere, Philo states, and this feast is begun on the 15th day of the month, in the middle of the month, on the day which the moon is full of light. In consequence, on the providence of Elohim taking care that there shall be no darkness on that day. That's called, right?
So, Deacon, what does that last part just say?
It says that there will be no darkness on that day because the moon is at its fullest point.
Right. So somebody just asked if Philo's a Jew. It's a Philo of Alexandria, also called Philo Judaeus, was a Hellenistic Jewish philosopher who lived in Alexandria in the Roman province of Egypt. Just so you understand. 20 BCE to 50 CE, right? So during the time of Yahushua.
So let's take a look at his more of his work, Special Laws. 178, Philo writes, there is one principle of reason by which the moon waxes and wanes in equal intervals, both as it increases and diminishes in illumination. The 7 lambs, he's calling it, because it receives the perfect shapes in period of 7 days. The half moon in the first 7, this is such a cut on our brothers who believe the new moon is the full moon.
Start it back over, please.
Oh my God. So this says, there is one principle of reason by which the moon waxes and wanes in equal intervals, both as it increases and diminishes in illumination. The 7 lambs
decreases in her perfection, showing you the full moon is not the new moon. Go ahead.
The 7 lambs, because it receives the perfect shapes in periods of 7 days.
Oh, being 0, dark, half, full, and half, and then dark again. 1st, 8th, 15th, 22nd, new moon. Go ahead.
It says the half moon in the first 7.
The 8th day, half moon. The first Sabbath. Go ahead.
Period. After its conjunction with the sun, full moon in the 2nd.
The 15th day, full moon. Go ahead.
And when it makes its return again, the 1st is to half moon.
The 22nd half. Go ahead.
Then it ceases at its conjunction with the sun. Damn.
New moon.
Hey. That proves dark moon. It says it ceases. No slither. It ceases.
Well, because again, it says it's perfect configurations. A sliver is not a perfect configuration.
God. Okay, let's continue here. We're trying to get through this. Okay, now watch this. Philo has worked on mating with the preliminary studies. X1X, I don't know what number that is, but you guys see it. For it is said in the scripture. What is it?
19.
Okay. For it is said in the scripture, on the 10th day of this month, let each of them take a sheep according to his house, in order that from the 10th there may be consecrated to the 10th, that is to Elohim, the sacrifices which have been preserved in the soul, which is illuminated in the 2 portions out of the 3, until it is entirely changed in every part and becomes a heavenly brilliancy, like a full moon at the height of its increase at the end of the 2nd week. Wow. This proves that the weeks are confined to the monthly cycle.
Hold on. I need you to hold that point aside. I need you to give me one real quick. Give us a good old Mike Malice.
Oh yeah.
I need this right now. Because that one right there, Jesus Christ. All praise.
That's right. All praise to the Most High.
That's right. All right. Hey, listen, man. They've been wanting us to do it. We've been sitting on this like, are y'all sure y'all want feelings hurt this bad? right? Through the Spirit. It's okay if you don't got it. You can do it.
Oh, I can't do it.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my God.
So as we see here, the monthly cycle and the weekly cycle is not on two separate cycles. The weeks are confined to the month. The Bible proves that. Primary source, a Hebrew Israelite, worldwide and renowned historian Philo, proved that too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Do we got it?
So when the moon is full, is the second week of the month. That's so cold.
Let's read that again, please. I'm gonna just let Dara die. Oh, praise to the Most High.
You want me to read it again?
Yeah. Read it again.
Okay, I'm just read the latter part. And becomes, talking about the moon, a heavenly brilliancy.
Supplanter, we already dealt with that earlier. We already told you to go back earlier and deal with that. There ain't no 5 Sabbaths. It's 4. Go ahead. 4 weeks. Go ahead.
So it says, and becomes a heavenly brilliancy like a full moon at the height of its increase at the end of the second week.
Full week, because the 1st to 8th is the first week, then the 8th to the 15th is the second week. The 15th is when the moon is new. So the end of the second week, right? 6 working days, then you rest on the Sabbath. The end of the second week is the full moon. If the end of your second week, the moon ain't full, something ain't right. Go ahead.
That's so cool. Oh man. But look, you know, our people are so, caught up in man-made traditions that, we're just putting this out like
the sister said it earlier, man. It's a sister. I had pinned it earlier, man. She had such a powerful point. I pinned it, man. I believe the sister name was Summer or something, not Summer Walker. Not that. She doesn't make good points. Hold on, Salaki, but she made such a great and profound point. I just want to find it real quick, man, because I want to quote her and I want to credit the powerful sister. Yeah, I ain't got it, man. Salaki says, but she made a point. Yeah, and she basically just said it like, people would rather, or she said that like we're creatures of habit. So everybody would rather keep this Friday to Saturday thing because it's comfortable and it's habitual versus having to actually, do what Yahweh told us to do.
Okay, let's get into the Essenes. The Essenes, more Israelites, the ones who are responsible for the Dead Sea Scrolls that we have today. You mean to tell me they didn't know how we was keeping the Sabbath in the 1st century?
Salaki, Andre Bella, why is the second person asking if we're selling a lunar Sabbath? Why would we sell it? We don't have a calendar for sale. It's very simple. We it's a digital photo. That's the sister, Shantae Walker. Not Summer Walker, Shantae Walker. Much greater than Summer Walker, right?
Mm-hmm.
Much more powerful. But yeah, so it's not for sale. You hit us up, but like I said, I'm gonna create a resource online that's gonna be a very easy website to type in and remember, and then boom, it'll pull up Most High Will. I'm gonna work on that as soon as I get back to the house, right? Oh, well, yeah. Oh, I got a precept real quick. Good precept. We'll bring this precept out real quick. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
And he said unto them, full well ye reject the commandment of God that you may keep your own tradition.
Yahweh Shah Ben had your number on this. And it's in reference to a lot of things and our people's exaltation and, preservation of tradition over the commandment of the Most High. Our people have had a propensity to do that. And the Most High has been sending prophets to rebuke that spirit, to rebuke that ideology, right? But go ahead.
So let's deal with the Essenes, our second. So we had one primary source.
Supplanter, all of it was discussed, bro. All of it. Go ahead.
So we had one primary source that trumps your Frontinus and Cassius, the world-renowned historian and Hebrew Israelite Philo, proving that we kept the lunar Sabbath during the time of Christ. Now we got the Essenes who were responsible for the Dead Sea Scrolls that we have today. Hebrew Israelites, watch what they say, the Essenes. And look at this. The Essenes were also around during Philo's time. Oh, did they observe the creation? Did they observe the creation calendar that Philo observed? Indeed, they did. Please read this quote found among the fragments in the Qumran caves along with the Dead Sea Scrolls, 76 fragments of an astronomical text written in a cryptic alphabet record, the phases of the moon divided into 1/14 of the full size of the moon. JT Malik has reconstructed a 14-line section based on the fragment, whatever this number is, 2 and 14. It is entitled Phases of the Moon from the scroll 4Q317 part, which is found below. And look what it says. On the 5th day of it, the month, 12/14 of a moon's surface are covered, and thus it enters the day. On the 6th day of it, 13/14 of its surface are covered, and thus enters the day. It enters the day. On the 7th day of it, 14/14 of its surface are covered, and thus entered into the day. On the 8th day of it, the firmament above, light is to be covered on the first of the Sabbath. On the 9th of it, 1/14 portion of its surfaces, it is revealed, and thus it entered into the night. On the 10th day of it, so you see there, the Essenes are explaining the intervals in 1/14 as opposed to Philo explaining it as intervals of 7, right? So I want to read this in a different translation so you guys can understand a little better. Here's another translation of the same parchment, 4Q317. Look what it says. On the 8th day of the month, the moon rules all the day in the midst of the sky. And when the sun sets, its light ceases to be obscured, and thus the moon begins to be revealed on the first day of the week. God damn. That's cold.
That's
so
right.
They're saying after the 8th day, which is the Sabbath, is the first day of the week. How can that be if they're not talking about the lunar Sabbath, the lunar calendar? After your 8th day, you get the first day of the week, according to the Essenes.
So that means the first day of the week is the 9th day. Right? Of the second week, which ends on the 15th day, which the full moon has to be. God, all praise the Most High for these. So this debunks the new moon as the full moon. This debunks the Friday, Saturday, Sunday. All of it is successfully debunked through the Spirit. Evening, all of it. All of that, all of these heresies that have rose up, all of these false ideologies, all of that stuff, it's all, we've been doing it with the scriptures, now we're going into the sources, right? But we've clearly demonstrated all this scripturally, and now we're showing the witnesses in history, primarily from our actual ancestors, right? This is how they observed.
Now, let's get our third source, which would be Josephus, right? A lot of y'all love Josephus. Well, let's see what he talked about here. Flavius Josephus. Let's deal with the third primary source and he undoes the Gregorian calendar in a different fashion, but nonetheless supports the creation calendar and lunar Sabbath. All right, so let's go to let's go in the Antiquities of Jews, chapter 10, section 5. He has this to say about the Passover season. In the month of Xanathicus, which is by us called Nisan, and is the beginning of the year, on the 14th day of the lunar month, when the sun is in Aries, in this month, it was that we were delivered from bondage under the Egyptians, and law ordained that we should every year slay that sacrifice, which I before told you we slew when we came out of Egypt, and which is called the Passover. And so we do celebrate this Passover in companies, leaving nothing of what we would sacrifice until the following day. 249. The Feast of Unleavened Bread succeeds that of the Passover. Proving that the Passover is separate from unleavened bread.
Beautiful.
Leviticus 23 and Numbers 33 substantiates that. It says, and falls on the 15th day of the month and continues 7 days, wherein they feed on unleavened bread. 250. But on the second day of unleavened bread, which is the 16th day of the month, they first partake of the fruits of the earth, for before that day they do not touch them. 251. They take a handful.
Hold on. Before that, they do not touch them. Interesting. Go ahead.
right? It says they take a handful of ears and dry them, then beat them small and purge the barley from the bran. They then bring 1/10 deal to the altar to Elohim, and casting one handful of it upon the fire, they leaven the rest for the use of the priest. And after this, it is that they may publicly or privately reap their harvest. Why is he saying this? Josephus is explaining to the Gentile nations how the barley could be harvested on the 16th day, and says exactly what Leviticus 23 says about the feast of Passover and unleavened bread wave sheaf. So he quotes Leviticus, the 14th day or the 15th day of the Passover tomorrow, the day of the 15th, Saturday, Sabbatarians, it's just the way Sabbath is.
Tomorrow after the Sabbath.
Right, okay, there we go. So let me just read this. The 14th day is the Passover, the 15th day of the first day, and the Sabbath of unleavened bread. And the morrow after the Sabbath is wave sheaf. The day after the 15th is the 16th. Saturday Sabbatarians insist that the wave sheaf be observed the day after a Saturday Sabbath, and insist that it can be any one of these days of the following days of the feast from the 14th to the 20th. So if Passover falls on Wednesday, for instance, then Saturday will fall on the 17th day of Abib. Saturday Sabbatarians insist that the 18th would then be the wave sheaf. Is this what Scripture or Josephus says?
No, it says the 16th, so it can't be the 18th.
I got a guy named Utab calling. 1 second.
Yeah, he just called me too.
What do you need?
Just called me too. I just said, "Oh."
Right now on this Lunar Sabbath, I'll hit you back.
Tell him I said, "Oh." Stop calling me. He called me.
Right. So, that's a good point right there. But I think he made one more that's a little easier to explain. So Clement, I think this is Clement of this isn't Clement who was with Paul. This is Clement of Alexandria instead of Clement of Rome, I believe.
We mess with Rome, Clement. Alexandria, he might be cool.
Well, no, this is Alexandria. This is okay. Alexandria. 150 to 215. So Clement plainly writes that in periods of 7 days, the moon undergoes its changes. In the first week, she becomes okay, but that's pretty much it. I mean, there's other sources, but we just wanted to deal with the first century sources that were contemporaneous with the time of Christ, being Josephus, the Essenes, and Philo, the world-renowned historian. They're all proving that we were keeping a lunar Sabbath. This is called primary sources. And that's pretty much it that I had. Do you guys got anything? We can open up for questions. We could close out, however you guys want to do it.
Yeah, we can open up for questions. I think the dead horse has been beat through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. I think it's very clear. And again, if you keep a Friday, Saturday, Sabbath, I don't think you're the devil. We love you. All right.